seems like a good time for me to get up.
See, we mentioned Dr. Feet one time.
Dr. Feet.
And now you gotta go and take care of business in the bathroom. All right, Nick. Wink, wink.
God damn it.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Hit the Books Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Holcomb.
I'm Emery Saunders.
And I'm Nick Marlatt.
And we're here to bring you all the nerdy news you need to know about this week. Of course, you can always find us on YouTube. You can find us on Twitter at HTBVids. You can find us on Facebook at /HitTheBooks. You can also check us out on Stitcher, iTunes, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, and we'll soon be on Amazon Podcasts as well. So look forward to that. Perhaps you would like to promote those natural ones?
Of course, always.
Please.
Yeah, Tuesdays, 8:30, twitch.tv/those natural ones. And the recordings now come out every Thursday at noon on our YouTube channel. Actual play, Dungeons & Dragons, 5th edition, fun stuff. Emery plays with us. I DM.
Oh, yeah.
I am insane. And weird things happen.
Lots of weird things happen, and we're all here for it.
Yeah, and I should probably mention, if you need a quick tutorial on how to subscribe with your Amazon Prime membership and support their channel, it's a little tedious. You gotta go into your account, your Twitch account, link it to your Amazon account through the account settings. It's a little tough to find, but once you do it, you don't have to do it again. And then you go to the channel and you subscribe on the channel, but before clicking the paid option, you click Use My Prime subscription, and you have to do it once a month.
Yes, you have to re-up every month as opposed to like an actual paid one. If you're using your Amazon Prime, you have to re-up manually every single month.
Yep, and if you're not subscribing to any Twitch streamers, why not support them?
Absolutely.
At Those Natural Ones.
We appreciate it.
So please do. Once again, gotta link your account, go to the channel, subscribe, don't click the paid option, click the checkbox, and then use subscribe with Prime.
Yes. What he said.
There you go.
It's a bit of a process, but, we appreciate all your support.
Yes.
And of course, you get some emojis that are proprietary to the
channel.
channel.
Emojis created by one of our other players, Sam. She's hand-drawn all of the emojis, and they are adorable and amazing. So, and all of the proceeds go to help build a better stream. All money we bring in through the subscriptions and ad revenue is going directly back into the stream to help increase audio quality, video quality, and eventually build a full-on Critical Role ripoff set so we can actually play in person and stream it with decent quality.
All right, great. So, what have you guys been up to this week?
Well, I finished... God, there's actually quite a few things that I finished this week. First thing I finished was the Tekken Bloodlines Netflix series.
That's a thing?
That is a thing that actually just dropped, I think, last week. Only 6 episodes, and each of the episodes, I think, is only like 22, like somewhere between 22 and 30 minutes. So, not very much. But what they had there was... It's interesting because they're covering the story from Tekken 3, which is arguably when the series actually, like the game series itself, actually took off. There's a couple of weird things in it. Like there's some characters that don't show up in the games until like either Tekken like 5, 6, or 7. And there's this art style that they've chosen, which is 3D cell shaded to make it look like it's an anime, but all of it, like it's entirely computer generated. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and it wasn't until recently that I watched a video about the series that I noticed that every single character on screen looks like they have something blocking their light for some reason.
Okay.
Yeah. We talked about this last week briefly. Of course,
I was
Nick was not
under the
present
weather.
for the last episode, but not a fan. Not a fan of that animation style. It's very jarring. I much prefer the hand-drawn animation.
It is, like, I can agree with you on that, but because nostalgia washed over me completely when I saw it,
He's drenched in it.
yeah, I'm covered. There's no escape. There were a lot of callbacks and a lot of fan service that made me almost entirely overlook the glaring issues with the show. The biggest one being, so, like, one of the things that's common to Tekken is the 10-hit combo. Of course, you only get one in this show because it's only the first season. We got to see if people actually want this fucking show. The 10-hit combo, spot on, accurate as all hell. The characters are depicted completely accurate to, like, the lore that they have behind them, which is entirely bonkers for, like, maybe the 5 characters that it explores. There are a bunch of other characters that, like, oh, you get to see their face or you get to hear their name, but that's it.
Tekken.
Theme
From last week, sorry.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
The story itself is the story of how a boy loses his mother to a weird Aztec fighting spirit that for some reason comes back from the dead, only so that this kid can be taken in by his estranged grandfather and taught the way of the Iron Fist.
Does
and
his fist
beat a
glow?
demon.
Not that Iron Fist.
No.
God,
Okay.
no.
I will say that there is a whole lot of special effects that are put on these fights, like the weird, like, particle effects and, like, lightning thing that you would see in those fights in the game. They put it in the show.
This sounds absolutely terrible.
It sounds terrible on paper because it shouldn't work.
Yeah, this sounds absolutely terrible.
But watch one episode just to see if it's for you. Just one.
Here, I'm gonna rip this shit apart completely. These are all the things that are bad about it. Here, go watch it. That's like the typical.
Now he's telling you to
dude,
put the tip in.
yeah.
He's like, I got gonorrhea, but just
Yeah.
the tip. You won't get gonorrhea
Oh
if you
my
put
god,
just the
this
tip in.
smells disgusting. Smell it.
If you can get past all of that,
That sounds like the entire show. If you can get past
It's 6
everything
episodes
about this
of
show,
20 minutes.
if you can get past all of these terrible things, the show is redeemable slightly, maybe.
He's just a Tekken mark. He can't help it.
look, I can't help it, okay?
He's not going to get another one.
I'm not going to get another one of these that's anywhere as close to accurate as this show.
That's great. I'm glad you enjoy it. Probably not going to watch it.
I'm probably going to pass on that
Love
one.
you, buddy. But
I mean, it's not for everyone, but if you're a hardcore Tekken fan,
It's still not for you.
this might scratch that itch.
Speaking of itch, if you want to send Emery your lewd boy Tekken fan
No!
art, please
No!
email us at HitTheBooksVids, VIDS, at gmail.com. Thank you.
Every single time with you.
I have an agenda, and I won't stop until I accomplish it.
Clearly.
You son of a bitch.
What else you been up to?
What other nerd shit did I get up to? So I finished that show. Oh, an anime that just popped back up. One that was made exclusively available on Netflix like last year or the year before. For any of you fans out there who also happen to be fans of a little show called JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, the second part of season 6 is finally up.
Hot.
But one thing I plan on doing this weekend is there's a show, also another little known show that's been kind of taking the world by storm for the last 4 years called Cobra Kai that just got its 5th season. I think it's on Netflix as we speak.
Is today Cobra Kai Day or was it yesterday?
I have zero.
I think today is Cobra Kai
desire.
Day.
I have less than zero desire to watch Cobra Kai.
Oh my god. Are you not a Karate Kid fan?
I mean, I watched them when I was a kid, but no, I have less than zero desire.
It's worth it.
Although I did just see that toy that we were talking about before the show.
The Ninja Turtles.
Ninja
and-
Turtles versus Cobra Kai mashup that had Raphael and some random fucking karate dude
Why not?
in
Yeah,
it.
it's
It was a box set. Collect them all.
I'm not sure there's a property that Ninja Turtles hasn't crossed over with at this point.
I mean
Ninja Turtles and the Property Brothers.
Oh, coming soon. Yeah, Cobra Kai as a series is far better than it has any right to be. Kind of like Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, I only
Here
watched
we go
the.
again.
Yep.
I only.
yep.
I mean,
Throat-
if you really
here
want
we-
me to, we're on the same track.
Son of a bitch.
Getting traced.
Maverick.
Oh no!
Stick me, daddy. Sorry. If you haven't watched the episode where we allude to Top Gun Maverick and Tom Cruise potentially traking Val Kilmer, go ahead and watch that episode for your enjoyment.
Oh, shit.
You sick bastard. I can't believe you.
It is who I am.
Yeah.
Why are you encouraging him?
It is what it is.
I think I posted it on our social media. I don't remember, but there was a moment in like 2 episodes ago on episode 63 where we had a glitch in the Matrix and Nick and I had mirror
We were,
image
like,
drinks
both
of water.
drinking at the
We
same
both had
exact
red
time.
shirts on. It just it worked.
Yeah.
So
Ugh.
weird.
Anyway.
Uncanny. But Cobra Kai is really enjoyable. I only watched the first season, so I only got like probably the best part of it so far, but my brother absolutely loves it. Shout out to Dan the Man Maloney from the old podcast Hit the Mats for our wrestling material. Speaking of which, wrestling material will be a big feature of the show today, so stay tuned.
Oh yeah, get ready.
All right, anything
good.
else you've been up to?
I think that's the only things that I can remember. Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else I watched. I know I haven't started House of the Dragon yet.
Yeah, that's still on my list.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to watch that while I'm working because I want to actually like pay attention to it.
Oh,
So-
yeah.
Yeah.
But you did watch another fantasy
I
property,
did.
did you not?
I did. I haven't watched this week's episode because it came out today, but the first 2 episodes of The Rings of Power, which I went into with bottom of the barrel expectations because I didn't want them to fuck it up too
Yeah.
badly. But holy crap, it was actually really good. The first episode was, I mean, it was slow. It was a stereotypical first episode of a long-running show where it was a lot of build up, a lot of character development, and scene development and shit like that.
Yeah.
But it was done well, and the characters are fantastic. The second episode was awesome. So far so good. I am enjoying it.
That's good to hear. I think like everybody, I was super worried that
Right.
it was just going to be a money dump where they put all this, production
Sure.
value into something that's just garbage
Yeah.
on the writing front. So
No, so
Yeah.
far so good. It's actually really good. And there's a couple shots specifically of Galadriel where she looks like she has the exact same. They do this one, like 2 or 3 of the close-ups on her eyes, and it matches the movie perfectly. Like they could not have found a better actress
nice.
to play a younger version of that same character.
It's great to hear.
Yeah, watch that. I'm up to date with She-Hulk as well, which
Oh,
they
that
on
was the other
episode
thing
4?
that I watched.
yeah, they just finished episode 4, I believe. And
Yeah.
it's good. It's fun. It's average, you know.
Did you need Megan Thee Stallion twerking on your TV?
It's fine. It was dumb. It was silly. Whatever. I don't care. But
Emery cares a lot.
I'm sure he does. But that's for a different reason. But no,
Whoa.
Look,
If you want to send Emery your lewd Megan Thee Stallion fan art, please submit to hitthebookvids@gmail.com. Thank you.
So far I'm enjoying
every
it,
time,
though.
every time with you.
So far I'm enjoying it. Is it the best Marvel product? No. Is it better than Iron Fist? Absolutely. But no, it's good. It's
Wongers.
Oh my god. Fucking Wongers and
Fucking
not Haley. What the fuck is her name?
I
I forget.
Madison.
Madison with two N's and a Y, but not where you think. I want to punch her in the face every single time she's on. But
I haven't even watched it, and I'm cringing.
I know. The character is fantastic because every single person knows somebody like that, and every single person wants to punch them in the face.
That's the thing. Like, as soon as Madison showed up, I was like, oh god, that's too real.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's so far the show is done well. I'm curious because we still don't have like a bad guy. So I'm interested to see how they're going to go about this because we only have like 2 episodes left?
It's a 9-episode season.
Oh, is
so-
it 9 episodes? Okay,
Yeah.
so we got 5 episodes left. We still don't really have a bad guy, but I'm kind of thinking that they're not gonna have like a main bad guy in this season at least.
I mean, given the nature of a show that's supposed to involve, several cases like over the course of all these episodes, it would make sense that like each episode has its own like, oh, I gotta beat up this thing this time.
But
so
they're really playing heavy in the courtroom drama aspect of it and not in the superhero, Yeah, she's a big green lawyer, and that's what they're playing it as, a big green lawyer,
Yeah.
It's like Boston Legal with a fucking Hulk. I mean, and that's not a bad thing. Don't get me wrong.
I was going to say Ally McBeal, but with a
that
Hulk.
works too. It's not a bad thing. It's done well, but it was not what I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting, but it's not fucking
cheek clapping. That's what you
Yeah.
expected.
Yeah.
Big green Fiona from Shrek cheeks.
I saw this meme this morning where it was the scene from Multiverse of Madness where they kill Doctor Strange in the alternate universe, and instead of Black Bolt doing his shout, they had She-Hulk clapping her cheeks to generate the force to destroy him. I was dying, man. If I can still find it, I'll post it on the YouTube channel. But yeah, it was so good.
I'm dead.
But other than that,
Top tier memery.
yeah. Other than that, also latest episode of Mystery Science Theater came out for any of the Patreon backers.
Oh,
Wonderful.
shit.
Yeah, and it was terribly bad, but in the best way possible, as
Awesome.
a Mystery Science Theater is. It's called the was it the the Million Eyes of Sumeru, or the Thousand Eyes of Sumeru, or something like that. And it is like, the movie is all about these like it's from the 60s, and it is a classic 60s. We're going to try and make this like James Bond, but fail miserably. About this spy who's god awful, and going against a group of female assassins, basically.
Oh.
The leader of which is this
So it's
woman
like
named Sumeru.
Austin Powers.
Yeah, kind of.
But worse because he's taking himself seriously.
But the funniest part is the main woman who plays Sumeru 3 years before was an actual Bond girl.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hold on.
That's quite a demotion.
I can't remember what movie it was in. I'll look it up real quick.
The 60s had to have been a wild time.
That poor
Yeah,
woman.
the Million Eyes of Sumeru. It came out in 1967. Shirley Eaton.
Shirley.
And she was a Bond girl in Goldfinger. She played
That's unfortunate.
Jill Masterson in Goldfinger in 1964, and then in 1967 she was in The Million Eyes of Sumer.
She must
okay.
have pissed off the wrong people.
Okay, Jill Masterson, like from Goldfinger, that's one thing.
Yeah.
I was worried for a second that she was going to be like the Bond girl.
No, she wasn't
from
Pussy.
She wasn't Pussy Galore.
No. She wasn't Pussy Galore, but she was... yeah, there's a picture of her with Sean Connery right there.
Yeah.
So...
Oh, she
She's
must
the
have gotten
spitting
paid.
image of the robot sex
Yeah,
doll from Austin Powers.
I mean, that's pretty much who it was
Modeled after.
Yeah.
but yeah.
Oh, yeah. She's got to be the girl who actually gets painted gold, like, to death.
Yeah.
So I've watched their Rebirth season they had on Netflix for a while. How are you watching it?
So they did a Patreon thing, or not a Patreon, but a Kickstarter last year, and they actually developed an app. It's called the Gizmoplex, and you can download the app for free on anything. We have it on our Apple TV, and you can go through and either purchase old episodes, like all the classic episodes, or any of the new ones one by one, or you can get a yearly subscription that'll give you all of the episodes that come out.
That's awesome. I'm surprised they even have the rights to their old episodes, because I assume
there's only
Sci-Fi would
there's
own
only
them.
so many. It's not all of the episodes. They
Gotcha.
have what is called their Vault collection, and I don't think it's completed yet, but I feel like they're in the process of trying to buy the rights back to those.
Wow, that's pretty
So
cool.
It's got it's even ran by Joel, the original creator and the original host, and he's actually, so the new season has 3 different casts basically.
Oh, so it's like Blue's Clues.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. They have
Way to bring that back.
yeah,
We got Steve, and Steve.
yeah. So they have the guy who it started off with, the guy who was in the newer ones, Jonah, him and the 2 voice actors who play his bots. Then they brought in a woman named Emily, I believe, and then they have 2 different voice actors who play her version of Crow and Tom. And then they recently brought in, through time travel, they brought in Joel. Not Joel.
Joel's the new one.
Joel. No, Jonah's the new one.
Oh, no. Well, I don't know.
My brain just stopped working.
I'll flash it on the YouTube channel.
Joel. Yeah, Joel. Joel's the original.
Joel? All right.
Yeah, they brought
Mixing
back,
up J names.
Yeah. So they brought in Joel, and they brought in the original voice actor for Tom Servo too, and they still have a different guy. So basically, they play it as they have 3 different satellites. They have the Satellite of Love. They have the which has Jonah and his crew. They have the Simulator of Love, which has Emily and her crew, and then they brought in an old Satellite of Love that was supposed to be from the past, but ended up actually being from the future, which has an older version of Joel and his.
And so they're all making new episodes concurrently?
Yes.
That's pretty neat.
So they have basically one episode comes out every few weeks or once a month. I forget exactly.
And you can
what
only
their
watch
release
it
is.
on this Gizmodo app.
Gizmoplex.
Gizmoplex, sorry. That's interesting. Yeah, I had no idea. I knew they had, their season on Netflix, and I was like, oh, that's
Yeah.
great. And
Yeah, they
I
did
had no
2
idea they had a whole fan base service.
Oh yeah, yeah. They did 2 seasons on Netflix, and then it disappeared for 4 years or something like that, and then it came back through Kickstarter. And
That's great.
Basically, through the cult following, were able to garnish enough money to buy the rights to a bunch of their old episodes and shit like that too.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hopefully they can get all those. And I assume Sci-Fi and their parent company is who owns most of them.
I believe so, because it was on Sci-Fi for a long time. It was on Comedy Central for a little while too, but I'm pretty sure all of those are owned by the same fucking network at this point.
Yeah. Well, anything else you've been up to?
Nothing really other than trying to figure out new ways to torture these fuckers.
Speaking of which, the last episode was particularly enjoyable for me.
Thank you.
I haven't been able to tune in as much recently, but this past one I was basically editing and watching at the same time, so I just stayed up all night.
Yeah, until our fucking stupid chatbot kept timing you out.
It didn't like me.
Oh, yeah.
It's a little aggressive.
Yeah.
It didn't like me
we fixed
posting
it.
multiple
We fixed-
emojis
we-
and posting in all caps.
Oh, yeah.
We fixed it after the stream.
I don't know
It'll be
how
fine.
you found out every single way to trigger this fucking thing, but you found a way.
Yeah, I don't think I was the only one either. I think one other person got hit.
We fixed it though. It after the stream we sat down and we figured out the issues and turned off all the filtering and the naughty boy shit. So.
Now I will say the one thing that frustrates me about your guys' stream every week is the time you spend in the first like hour, 2 hours just fucking off in a tavern and not getting to the fucking point of the story.
This is spoken like somebody who has truly never played a D&D game in his life, because that's how they go. I don't know if you're aware, but
my God, man.
typically
I can only hear about the Snackle Box so many times before I want to blow my brains
fucking
out.
Snackle box. Props to you, Sam, and your fucking Snackle box.
You should have given the dragon a White Claw. I'm just saying, it would have worked.
Had we thought ahead of time to have a White Claw in advance, I'm sure we would have still found a way to fumble that before the thane of a dragon god.
But yeah, really enjoying the stream. Keep it up, guys.
Nice.
Of course, you can always catch that where?
Twitch.tv/thosenatural1s or youtube.com/something.
And at what time could I catch such a program?
8:30 p.m. on Tuesdays. Every Tuesday, 8:30 p.m.
Eastern Standard Time.
Eastern Standard Time.
Oh,
Every single time.
Every single time.
convenient.
And on YouTube on Thursdays at noon.
Take two.
And all videos will be posted to YouTube on Thursdays at noon.
Shameless plug. Thank you.
Shameless.
No shame. No shame.
Or full shame. Full frontal shame.
If you want to send Emery your fan art of shameful things you would like to depict,
No,
please email us at hitthebooksvids@gmail.com.
Don't you do it. Don't listen to him. Every time with you.
Listen to me.
No.
Do it. Thank you.
I can't take you anywhere.
Well, times are busy, of course, for me. I have 2 fantasy football leagues that I'm managing right now, and
2 of them.
I love it. Football season started officially last night, where the Bills just absolutely shellacked the Rams, just embarrassed them on primetime television.
Oh, speaking of something embarrassing on primetime television during football, did you see the Black Adam trailer?
I did. I did. And The Rock, of course, opened the show, opened the game.
Fucking course he did.
Los Angeles. Yeah, it was.
It doesn't matter what you think of them.
I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, it's the typical DC throw CG money at everything bullshit. Like I'm Pierce Brosnan is, you know,
I'm sorry. What?
Pierce Brosnan
is in the movie.
Get the fuck out. I'm
Yeah.
done. I quit.
No, I think he would be great casting if it wasn't,
2022.
Warner Brothers.
Pierce Brosnan would have been great casting in 1990s.
Well, for the role.
For
He's
the
playing
role,
an old archaeologist.
Okay, he's playing an old archaeologist and occasionally voicing the character Dr. Fate. Because
Which is one of my favorite DC characters, but
he's great.
Did you say
but-
Dr. Feet?
yes. If you would like to send Nick your lewd feet, Dr. Feet fan art, please email us at hitthebooksvids@gmail.com.
Why do you ask for this?
I just want to see if someone will do it.
Oh my god.
Somebody call Sam.
This is the greatest part is the fact that you are the one who gets all the emails. So you're really asking for yourself more than anybody else.
Yeah, don't tell everybody.
The cat is out of the bag.
See, I was trying to protect you, but this is what happens.
But yeah, I was not thrilled with the trailer. I mean, I'm sure it'll be fine. It'll be like a low 6 out of 10.
And that's generous.
And, you'll have The Rock doing The Rock.
I'm
and
sure he will rock bottom at least one person in the movie. because
Oh.
that's
he
what
rock
does.
bottoms a jet. So
Oh.
Get the fuck out of here.
By rock bottoms, we mean he punches a wing off a flying jet.
yeah,
That's just a thing that he does.
it's a thing.
Nope.
It's basically alluding to like the Man of Steel scene where the two jets fly
Yeah.
next to it.
It fucking is.
it's just-
Are we trying to make him a hero, or are we doing like the Joker, where this is just about a villain?
yeah.
I mean, it's a Warner Brothers DC movie. They have to destroy at least half of a city.
You're not wrong.
And we will have more DC news
Yeah.
later in the episode.
Oh,
all right.
all
Well,
right.
as far as what I did, well, I did it. I finished Sandman.
I still haven't started it, but good for you.
Very good. Very good. If not great. I'd give it like a 9 out of 10.
It's
I have
definitely
very minor gripes
It's definitely
mostly
at
Lucian,
least a 9.
because Lucian annoys me. Yeah.
You still want fucking Lurch from Family?
Oh, I'm sorry, Lucien, because we gotta feminize the name somehow.
Yes.
Is it because Lucien isn't a feminine enough name in the first
I guess
place?
not. So it's Lucien.
Yeah, we
gotta
gotta
emphasize the
extend
syllable.
We gotta extend the N.
Yeah,
The N.
she's fine, but she sucks. Like she just doesn't have the presence she needs for that role.
You want Lurch from fucking the Addams Family. That's all you want. Da-da-da-da. 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 That show's actually coming soon.
It sure is.
Yeah, the Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah.
Oh my god, if they drop that show on Wednesday, I will shit a goddamn brick.
People are going to be so fucking confused, though, because there's that reboot of the Addams Family, and then there's the Munsters from Rob Zombie
Yeah.
also coming out around the same time.
Yeah, but Rob Zombie was supposed to be doing the Munsters like 15 years ago. He's literally been working on this for like a decade and a half.
And it kind of looks terrible.
It's like
I got to be honest.
a decade and a half, and it looks like he spent
looks
a
rough.
month.
Yeah.
It looks rough. It looks like a YouTube like generated content.
I have seen YouTube generated content that look better than it.
Yeah.
The fucking
We'll
Mortal
see.
Kombat
Oh.
miniseries on YouTube was fantastic. Thank you very much.
Again,
I mean, I love Rob Zombie as a human being,
Yes.
as a member of White Zombie, and then his own band, of course.
Yeah,
I
right.
enjoy his music. Yeah.
Dragula.
He's obviously a horror icon for all of his ridiculous, over-the-top horror movies. But I don't know about this one, guys. I don't know.
This might be a case of, hey, you know how we spent maybe most of the budget on this on cocaine?
Yeah. I mean,
Shit, we still got to make the show.
the House
Cocaine
of
you love.
the House of 10,000 Maniacs was fantastic.
Yeah. So he's a mastermind for just all sorts of.
How many of those
Musical
movies
and-
did you mix up the title to make that one?
That was one movie and a band that I mixed up. Thank you very much. That was 10,000 Maniacs and the House of 1,000 Corpses.
Yep.
But
That's,
yeah, I give him all the credit he's due. It's-
It was just like watching the wheels turn
like,
in your
wait a
head.
fucking
You're like,
minute.
Wait, that's not right.
It's like 1,010. No.
Emery just had an
I like how he
aneurysm.
played through every emotion on an individual basis.
It was like confusion, pain, regret,
Loss.
pain, aneurysm.
And of course, if you want to watch Emery's theatrics, go ahead and check out our YouTube channel. Give us a like and subscribe. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, where you will find plenty of it.
But yeah, love Sandman. I think it did kind of taper off a little bit from the climax of the 5th episode. I really think the 5th episode, would, again, ironically, does not feature Sandman hardly at all until the very end. But I think the 5th episode was like the perfect example of how you can enhance the original content and still pay respect to the original content. And 5th episode is just perfect for me, for my personal taste and fandom. I was a little surprised that they didn't touch base with like half of the Endless at the end of the series. And did you watch the bonus episode that came out recently?
No, not yet.
So yeah, there's a bonus 11th episode that's basically 2 short stories. One is an animated, like, kind of throwaway story that comes straight out of like an alternate comic book that was added mid-run, and then it's about cats. If you want to see an animated feature about cats, you can watch it. I'm not going to spoil it, but
If you would like to send Chris your lewd cat imagery,
and we mean cats in general, not like the Broadway show Cats or the Taylor Swift
either one.
butthole cats.
Oh!
Do you remember that?
No.
There was rumored that the live action Cats movie that was all like CG animated had literal buttholes under the tails.
what does that have to do with Taylor Swift?
Taylor Swift was in it.
Oh, she was? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had a catified version of Taylor Swift with a cat butthole and some rendering somewhere in somebody's file base.
Get the fuck out of here.
If you would like to send Chris here the butthole cut of the movie Cats, please.
It's like the Snyderverse cut.
It's exactly that.
HitTheBooksVids@gmail.com. Thank you. Yeah. Now that's all I can think about. Like, oh, what the fuck?
Have you checked your butthole? Beat up, boot up.
But yeah, really, 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 really getting back to the point. Love the Sandman series. Recommend everybody watch it, especially if you were a fan of the original comic book series. It does start off a little slow, gets really good mid-season, and then it just gradually gets to the end. I think the problem I have with it is it didn't touch base on half of the family, so like they're alluding to them the entire series, and you don't even get to see them, which is disappointing.
You get to see 3 of them show up in the show.
Yeah, that's half the family.
Yeah,
literally half.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
You gotta hook them for the season 2.
Yeah, so we'll see what they do. The problem is the rumors are swirling that they haven't even confirmed a season 2 yet, which is the part that frustrates me. And I can see how it would be difficult because in the comics, the stories that are left are so grand in scale. Like, they can't do the human stories anymore. They basically used every human story through the first season.
Yeah.
So you really got to kind of go all out with the fantastical aspects of the show, and then you also have to go to the past a lot.
Yeah. Hopefully the show did well enough for Netflix to greenlight a season 2 that hopefully gives them enough money to truly realize the vision.
I mean, it's Netflix, so if it was a good show, it's probably not getting greenlit.
Son of a...
Please don't do this, Netflix. You're going to get a Tekken season 2, and we're not going to get a Sandman
you're gonna get
season
7 Tekken seasons, and you will not get another.
Don't do this, Netflix. But no,
or do.
It really is great. And then that bonus episode was a lot of fun. The first half, like I said, kind of throwaway animated cat story, but the second story, oh god, the second story is a really good part of the comic that they adapted in live action. Is really solid. Quite honestly, they should have just spent the entire episode on that second half. They didn't need to put the animated cat feature in the first half of the bonus episode. But really enjoyed it. Really highly recommend it. Really hope they get a second season. I don't. Everything that I would complain about is nitpick stuff, like John Constantine. Lucian's not authoritative enough for the role. Other than that, like, it's great.
Yeah, it's nearly perfect.
I do wonder if the live action crying eyes is the right route to go with Sandman himself, though, because he always looks like he's on the verge of just breaking into tears. Because in the comics, he has like supernatural eyes that have like stars in them and stuff. And obviously, you don't want to spend your whole budget on animating his eyes, But the way they tried to like allude to it is by making his eyes super wet. So they look like super reflective, but it just looks like he's about to cry all the time.
Yeah, sometimes when you try to go for an effect, It's only afterwards that you see it doesn't work.
Yeah, of course, having read the comic, I get what they're going for. But if somebody who hasn't read the comic goes into it fresh, they're just going to be like,
why does he look like he's about to cry all of the
his
time?
His eyes are so irritated. Somebody get him some eye drops.
Crying eyes.
And it doesn't help that he's super emo looking to begin with. So,
okay. In his defense, Neil Gaiman drew the most emo-looking motherfucker ever to have been
this was
committed
pre-emo,
to paper.
but yeah, you're right.
This
you
was
are correct.
Pre-emo. This everything that emo is, it owes everything to things like the band The Cure and the graphic novel The Sandman.
Yeah,
almost entirely.
I think the biggest thing I loved about it is that it does respect your intelligence. It doesn't spell everything out to you. It expects you to be intelligent enough to understand what's going on in a lot of scenes, and I think it succeeds. So,
I will say that the Corinthian, the guy with teeth where his eyeballs should be.
Ah, that's terrifying.
Well, he's a literal nightmare. So, yeah, he is the embodiment of a literal nightmare.
Yes. I thought that was the way that they depicted the final confrontation between him and the Sandman. That had way more heart than I was expecting.
And I mean, that's straight from the comic. They handled it perfectly. I want to gripe more because that's just my general nature. But every complaint I have is just a minor nitpick that really didn't matter at the end. So highly recommended.
Highly recommended.
Fair enough.
All right. Well, I think that's a great place to transition to the news. Of course, like I alluded to, the big story was going to be wrestling related. Normal circumstances, this would be covered on the old show Hit the Mats podcast. But of course, that show ended quite some time ago when we had our last phase out.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's just hard to get all those guys back in a room together. We don't all watch the same wrestling programming. Back when that show was on, there was basically New Japan, if you were hardcore, and then there was WWE, and AEW was just kind of getting started. So there wasn't a whole lot you had to pay attention to. Maybe NXT, because NXT was great back in the day. And then now there's 4 plus 5, so it's 9 hours of main line US wrestling material, and then there's NXT, which is another 2 hours, and then there's AEW Dark, which is on the internet, which is another hour, and then there's New Japan, which is another probably 2 hours, I think, 3 hours. And then there's Stardom and just all these other branches of wrestling. And now AEW is crossing over into different minor Western wrestling brands. And there's just so much you got to pay attention to. If you really want to follow what's going on, you have to commit hours and hours and hours. And just everybody has their own taste. So nobody's going to sit around and watch 20 hours of wrestling in a week. And then if you have a pay-per-view, you're really fucked.
Ugh.
Because you have the pay-per-view, which is probably 7 hours, and then you got all the go-home shows.
The fuck is a 7-hour pay-per-view?
It's called WrestleMania, sir.
Dude,
the last WrestleMania was 2 days of 7-hour programming. I'm not joking.
The last time I actually watched wrestling was probably 2007, 2008, maybe. I'm pretty sure WrestleMania was 3, maybe 4 hours, and that was their big one. I'm sure it was 4 hours.
It
and all
is
the other
overwhelming how much material there is now.
All the other pay-per-views were 3.
Yeah, and of course they all have their pay-per-views on the same fucking weekend because they all want to compete with each other and compare numbers. But yeah, I mean, you're talking 20 to 40 hours of wrestling material, depending on how committed you are.
Good fucking God.
No thanks.
This week, we wanted to talk about a major news story coming out of AEW. This is kind of... it needs to be drawn out and explained in detail. So I'm going to read straight from the news article. A lot of this is copy and pasted from various sources on the internet. So, AEW, after ending their most recent pay-per-view, All Out, there was allegedly a real-life shoot brawl between many of the company's top stars, including the newly crowned champion, CM Punk, who is returning from injury and basically competing to get his title back from Moxley. Allegedly, the Elite, a.k.a. Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, who are also executive VPs of AEW because they obviously helped founded it, confronted CM Punk after he made derogatory comments about the locker room and the company during post-event interviews. While there are still details surfacing, allegedly CM Punk threw a punch at Nick Jackson, leading to several in the room to a full-on brawl that included producer Ace Steel biting Kenny Omega and Nick Jackson being struck and injured by a chair that was thrown at him. Rumors are that CM Punk was also injured at some point during the night. This was, yesterday, but today they confirmed that it was during the championship battle on the pay-per-view. And it was announced that both the new trios titles, which they had just debuted, and the AEW World Championship that CM Punk had just taken back after coming back from injury, were both going to be vacated on Wednesday's Dynamite. The new trios titles champions were decided during the episode of Dynamite. It is rumored that several members of the incident are suspended and some may have been terminated, specifically Ace Steel and CM Punk, which is a big deal because CM Punk wasn't going to come back to wrestling because he was so pissed off and had his famous pipe bomb incident live on the show where he just aired all of his grievances and walked off and basically left the wrestling world forever after his contract was just gone. And he was basically one of the top wrestlers in the world at the time as far as, crowd appeal and, in-ring talent. And now it seems like he's going to be out again because, again, he's running his mouth and he can't get along with anybody. Now, the problem is it's wrestling. So you don't know if it's real or if they're just doing it for publicity.
This could all just be fake.
A work.
Is this a bit? God damn it.
So the new trios title champions were decided during the episode, and the championship would be decided via a tournament of the top wrestlers in the company, including Chris Jericho, Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson, who's known as Daniel Bryan in WWE, Sammy Guevara, Hangman Page, and Darby Allin. On the episode, Bryan Danielson, who of course I'm wearing, defeated Hangman Page in the first match of the tournament, which is great. If you haven't watched the episode, definitely worth watching because they had a lot of bangers because they basically had none of their top tier guys on the show because they're all technically suspended or fired. And they had to fill a lot of time.
Oh my God.
And some bridge players really came out and fucking balled. So it was a really great episode. And then, of course, the trios titles were decided, and they were awarded to the Lucha Bros and Pac, who are a trio stable right now. This is kind of a newer thing for the Western wrestling market that they have trios titles, and it's pretty awesome. Like
a 3-man tag team?
Yeah.
Interesting.
But they're all going at it at the same time. It's fucking awesome.
Interesting.
Yeah. It makes I've never been a big tag team guy. You have the Hardy Bros and
I was a huge tag team fan, but that was because I watched it during the Attitude Era, where one of the biggest things was
the Dudley Boys,
the Dudleys, the Hardys, and Edge and Christian.
Yeah,
the three of them in 3-way tag team matches, like the TLC matches.
Well, there you go, 3-way tag team.
No,
trios.
As in
we just get rid of a team.
Yeah, you just split a team and
we just altered the math.
Yeah.
No. But no, it was great. They really put on a show. Of course, Orange Cassidy had to lose as he was a member of the Best Friends.
Son of a bitch.
I know. Very sad.
It's okay. He's too cool. He's too cool to win.
But this is all important because it follows some recent incidents that also happened backstage and also got significant members of AEW suspended. Recently, Eddie Kingston and Sammy Guevara had a real-life shoot fight in the backstage because Sammy was allegedly complaining that Eddie had some fitness shortcomings, So he called him a fat ass, basically. Like,
Oh.
it didn't work out. And of course, Eddie Kingston took offense to that, as you know, he's a big wrestling star in AEW, and went and beat his ass.
No.
And if you don't know Sammy Guevara, he's like he's ripped, but he's like a super skinny, like young, like cocky asshole type, you know, and had some recent sexual impropriety that had to be worked out for him to return to the show.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh.
So there's a lot of characters that need to be sorted, and there doesn't seem to be like a real locker room leader like there typically is. For example, in WWF, Undertaker was always the locker room leader, who's this big, like, real life menacing dude that would literally kick your ass and like beat you senseless if you weren't acting right and weren't following kind of like the wrestler's code in the, you know, backstage area or during the show. But I thought this was important to bring up because it's very reminiscent of WCW, and we had talked in past episodes how proud of AEW we were as bringing in this you know, great competition to Western wrestling and taking a very stale WWE product and escalating that as well, just because they had no choice. Yep. You know, they tried to go head to head with their NXT product and they got beat. I mean, just straight up got beat by AEW, who's this young upstart. So there's a lot to watch, to listen to be interested in. The problem is AEW has recently been taking this approach of kind of bringing back the work, you know, the classic, in quotes, work of the wrestling business, where you think it's a real fight. You think that there's real bad blood here. And of course, sometimes there is, but not always. Not always. And this one in particular is big because it's not just like regular dudes having a brawl that was captured on camera and broadcast, you know, on the highlight on the next show. No, this is like, there's no footage of it apparently. Like, this had, you know, executives and like cameraman like going in and trying to break up the fight. A bunch of people got suspended, including a bunch of wrestlers I didn't name that came in to try to break up the fight and just ended up in the brawl.
Yep.
So there's just a ton of talent. There's a ton of money. There's a ton of contracts that are just like not doing anything now because all of these people are just out of action and the show has to go on, you know?
Right.
And to be fair, AEW has tons of talent because they basically scooped up everybody that WWE laid off and signed them to 5-year contracts.
Right.
So they couldn't escape. But this also follows a lot of rumors of people asking to leave. And of course, now it's all in question again because MJF, who is probably the top heel in wrestling right now, I mean, he's brilliant. There was a lot of stuff going around about how he was demanding his release backstage and he wasn't on the show, he wasn't on the pay-per-views, and everybody was saying he was trashing the company and his contract was coming up, I guess, at the end of this year. And then to open the show, post all of these real-life brawls happening and all of these firings and suspensions happening, who opens the show? MJF, who comes out and trolls the crowd and basically says he's going to win the championship and then lord it over AEW to demand more money on his contract negotiations. So he won't go to WWE. So they're playing this very risky, razor-thin borderline of what's real and what's not real. And the problem with this is that it's so reminiscent of WCW when it was falling apart in real life, that you don't know, is this really falling apart? Is there really problems here? Is the management, is Tony Khan just not doing his job? Is there no locker room leader that can really lead in that locker room? But again, it could all just be a work, and they're all just fucking with our emotions to get us to watch, and they're succeeding. so you don't know.
I mean, it's good television, good for ratings, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Whether it's real or fake, they're succeeding in dragging you in.
I think it first of all, good on them for giving, during this tumultuous time for AEW, some room for the bridge players to actually show up and, you know, show off what they've got. like the guys who don't normally get screen time or anything like that.
Yeah.
The mid cards.
Yes. That being said, this reminds me of what I think might have been the thing that was bad about the Attitude Era. Like, the Attitude Era was good at a lot of things, but one thing that I remember from the Attitude Era is everyone who was watching it was so, like, dialed in to what was going on to, like, the degree that it was almost like a soap opera for dudes.
I mean, it absolutely was.
I mean, that's what it is.
That's exactly what it is. It's 100%.
I mean,
what it
that's
is.
exactly what it is. But I do remember there being some sort of, like, also, like, on a knife edge, trying to discern whether or not, was this real? Was this fake? How many of them are, like, just using, like, hidden razors to cut themselves to make, like, a chair head look
And
real?
how many times were there people fired or dumb shit like that, especially during the Attitude Era? How many times were people fired and then 3 months later they were back?
Yeah, and it's interesting because now we know what was real and what wasn't based on podcasts and interviews from these old timers that aren't in the business anymore, and just they feel like they can talk about it now. You know, a lot of people think, like, a lot of conspiracy theories think that the Montreal Screwjob, which is one of the most famous, like, real life shoot incidents in the wrestling business, was, like, the world's greatest work of all time, because they were going to basically break up the band, and they had to drop the title, but, well, he wouldn't release the title, so what do we got to do? We got to fuck him over in the match. And then that became the birth of Mr. McMahon, the character, as, like, the villainous owner.
Right.
Because prior to that, he was basically just a booth guy, and a lot of people didn't even realize he owned the company, you know?
Right.
So it's interesting because you don't know.
Like,
you're just never quite sure. And I got to give AEW credit if these are works and these are not real life things that they're just, like, taking advantage of to try to correct course. But I can't wait to see, like, the Dark Side of the Ring episode that covers all of this and tells me the truth. I want to know. I won't see it for years, but I'm excited.
One day we'll know.
But of course, I also wore this shirt for a reason. I have to bring it up. They stole my fucking idea. So famously, Bryan Danielson, when he premiered on AEW after leaving WWE, of course they keep all these things secret, you know, because they can't sign with anybody for a certain number of days after their contract ends, you know, and then they just suddenly appear one day and like, what the fuck? We didn't expect this.
Right.
Well, most people come out big, flashy, you know, pyro everywhere and, you know, some big gaudy outfit. Bryan Danielson came out in just a white t-shirt and jeans with a man bun. And so it became like a meme. And so we had a show, an AEW show, me and my wrestling buddies, including Dan the Man Maloney and Caleb and Shane from Hit the Mats podcast. We went down to Cincinnati and went to an AEW show. And, of course, I made this shirt myself and made a white t-shirt, Bryan Danielson shirt, on a white t-shirt because I wanted to be meta and ridiculous and show how much of a mark I am. So, of course, people loved it. And a lot of people were jealous because AEW has the worst fucking merch situation in the country. Like, every stadium they go to, they have nothing. Like, they have, like, 3 autograph photos and, like, a cup. And you're like, all right, what you want?
No.
Oh, we're sold out now. Sorry, bye. Yeah. They could be making so much more money on merch, but they just don't.
God, fucking wrestling merch.
But then on their website, which I'll show on the YouTube channel here, they created a white Bryan Danielson shirt featuring him in a white t-shirt. And I'm so pissed because it's like that Seinfeld episode where they stole his fragrance, where Calvin Klein stole his beach ocean fragrance idea. And they
Calvin Klein? No, that's my idea. They stole my idea. See, I had the idea of a cologne that makes you smell like you just came from the beach.
I know, look at this.
stole my t-shirt idea. They stole my idea. I demand payment.
Oh, God, you should have had it trademarked.
I'm so upset. But, yeah.
Also, airing of grievances, CM Punk. You save that for Festivus.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're going down the rabbit hole
Again,
now.
A little bit.
He might just be the greatest work artist of all time.
Yeah, fucking he could be.
But he seems to be an asshole, and everybody seems to agree, including lawyers, that he's an asshole. And he has this particular vendetta against Colt Cabana, who's also on AEW. And they obviously don't get along. And none of the people that are friends with Colt Cabana, which is most of the locker room, don't get along with CM Punk. And the problem is, he's the champion, or at least was, until he had to vacate a second time in 40 days because, again, he got injured or he got fired. So
I don't know shit about CM Punk because, like I said, I stopped watching wrestling in probably 2006 or 2007, maybe 2008, something around there.
yeah.
I don't know shit about CM Punk. I've seen except for 2 or 3 clips that I've seen of him. And yeah, I already don't like him.
Well, I mean, you think about his career path, because he went on WWE, which pays him millions of dollars to fake fight for a living and just be entertaining on a mic. And I get it. It's rough. It's not an easy job. I mean, they're doing house shows every week. They're doing 3 or 4 shows a week and just getting their ass beat. But he left that after shitting on the entire industry publicly with his pipe bomb incident, and then going on podcasts and just being derogatory about every single thing about his own business, and then decided he was going to be a UFC fighter and be like Brock Lesnar. Well, guess what? He's not Brock Lesnar, and he lost every fucking UFC fight he had and had to retire immediately. So I feel like he's just the type of dude that's just, I don't know. He's too sure of himself and of the ideas he has and the perspective he has. And there's a lot of people that agree with him in a lot of ways, but he just doesn't act on it. He doesn't represent what he says. Maybe it's just the top heel work, and he's just becoming the next big heel again.
All I can say though is, can we stop with the UFC pro wrestling crossovers?
Oh, the pipeline.
Oh my God, can we stop already?
Well, the
please?
common thread there: steroids.
Money.
Yeah, but steroids.
I mean,
Brock Lesnar popped hot 3 times now.
Was it?
Yeah.
It was fucking. Wasn't Ken Shamrock the first one that did it?
Yeah,
I'm
I just
pretty
remember
sure
him having a ton of jujitsu books. Like my buddy Will Beasley, growing up, he had all of Ken Shamrock's
Shamrock was big in
jujitsu
the
books.
early to mid '90s in WWE, and then he switched to UFC in the mid to late '90s. I don't know if he. I
just
don't
remember him late career showing up.
Yeah,
so
I don't know if
remember.
he's flipped back and forth, but I know he was. I'm pretty sure he started in WWE and then flipped over once UFC started getting big.
Well, I mean, current guys, Bobby Lashley used to be UFC. Matt Riddle used to be UFC, and they wouldn't let him smoke weed. So that's the reason he left USC.
Fantastic.
And so he went to WWE, and now
they're like, fuck it, I don't care.
He's called the Bro, and he's just smoking pot all the time, and just has the big pot bags under his eyes. It's hilarious. He comes out in flip flops and then throws them into the crowd, and then fights barefoot.
I can actually think of one of the things that made me legitimately just fucking completely stop watching wrestling, because even after 2007 2008 I would still watch it occasionally, but the thing that made me absolutely stop and say I'm never fucking watching this shit again was when The Miz became a wrestler. Because I don't know if you remember when he was on the fucking Real World. And he kept saying, I want to be a wrestler. I want to be a wrestler. And then he fucking became a wrestler. I was like, all right, now I'm done. This is fucking stupid. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life.
You're going to be very upset when you hear who's in WWE right now. So there's a particular YouTube star that joined WWE in the last WrestleMania.
An Ohio native also.
So Logan Paul
Yep.
is now a WWE superstar on contract.
but I don't know why I know that name.
He's a douchebag YouTuber that gives Ohio a bad name.
There's not very many things that give Ohio a good name. Let's start with that.
Okay. In particular,
Sir, Ohio is for lovers.
Get the fuck out of here.
and for people who want to learn how to invent ways to get out of Ohio,
Like fly.
like fly.
Yeah.
Go to the moon.
Looking at you, Wright brothers. Logan Paul is most notably a YouTuber who caught some heat for recording himself in what I think was called Suicide Forest over in Japan. Yeah, that was the big thing.
Initially.
His recent bumps in notoriety and popularity, which seem to intersect and interchange, is he challenged the undefeated boxer Floyd Mayweather to a boxing fight.
I remember that.
And this was like right after Floyd Mayweather had fought Conor McGregor from UFC.
Yeah. And his brother
beat
is still
the
fighting.
shit out of him, didn't he?
I'm pretty sure like he didn't get his ass completely beat, but Floyd Mayweather, he doesn't fight to knockout. He only fights to get the maximum points. He plays the
And
game.
He didn't get knocked out in any of these matches. He went to the last round. So I guess you got to give him a little credit. And again, he's extremely athletic. I have to give him credit. Like his wrestling ability was surprisingly very good.
Are we talking about Connor or are we talking about Logan Paul?
Logan Paul.
Oh.
Like surprisingly good. Like I was like, what the fuck? The problem is he's a face character. He's not a face. If he was a heel, he would be perfect for the brand, and I'd be like, all right, all for it, because he can actually wrestle.
But they're trying to brand him as a face, which
Oh my
is
God.
probably the biggest mistake that they've ever made within like the last decade.
Oh, that fucking douche canoe. I know him.
But yeah, he came out at WrestleMania with this like $40,000 Pikachu card on a gold chain.
God. He's fucking Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And yes, he fought the Miz.
I'm done. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, the Miz has basically become like the celebrity
He's
guest
from
coach.
He's from Cleveland. That's the problem.
Yeah, so is the Miz.
The Miz is from Cleveland.
He sure is.
Oh my.
See, you knew you hated him.
See, there are so many fucking entertainers who are actually from Ohio. It's fucking weird.
It is.
John Moxley, who was the previous AEW champion, he's from Cincinnati. So there's a lot of Ohio wrestlers and entertainers out there,
Yep.
for better or worse. John Moxley's great though, so and go
Al
Bengals.
Snow.
Thanks.
Al Snow. He's from Toledo.
That's amazing.
Oh shit.
But yeah,
What was the head? What was the head called?
Uh,
Or was it just called? What the fuck was the name of Al Snow's head?
I don't remember.
God, that's gonna fucking bug me for the rest of the.
I couldn't remember
night.
Logan Paul's name. You really think I'm gonna remember the head?
Al Snow.
But yeah, it's really entertaining. I really think this is there's an athletic revival of wrestling, I think, in the late 2010s.
Yeah.
That was primarily led by NXT and WWE's main products. And AEW brought in this awesome competition that brought a lot of these people that were wrestling exclusively in Japan that are high-level, top-tier athletes.
Like elevating the game.
Exactly.
Sorry, Al Snow's from Lima, not Toledo. And he's actually the owner of Ohio Valley Wrestling now.
Well, that tracks. I'm not surprised.
Not even a little bit. Oh my god.
But yeah, there's a lot of great things in wrestling right now. The problem is there's almost too much. It's like everything else. There's just you can't just have Game of Thrones. You got to also have Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings and House of the Dragon at the same time.
Well, we'll throw Sandman and Stranger Things and Cobra Kai and all of this other shit that you just have to keep up with. Oh, don't forget all the Disney Plus shit for
It's a goddamn deluge. There's
it's
no rest.
It's like the best problem you can possibly have. Like just too much content. But
An embarrassment of riches.
we'll see how this works out. Like I said, a lot of the stuff comes to light usually in podcast form nowadays, about a month later. We'll see if any of this stuff is real or if it's a shoot or if it's a work. But either way, it seems like AEW is going to have a nice viewership boost, at least for the near future. And I really hope that Bryan Danielson wins the tournament because they need to put the belt on him before he gets concussed again and retires.
I was right. His head was just called Head.
See, you had it the whole time.
And do you remember his intro music was like something like "Who wants Head" or something like?
Yeah, it was.
If you want to
absolutely
submit your
ridiculous.
head fan art to hitthebooksvids@gmail.com, please do.
Hell snow.
Literally, can't
I went
take you
through.
anywhere.
I went through this like B tier wrestler, like Attitude Era B tier wrestler rabbit hole the other day because I forget. We were talking about Vampire the Masquerade.
Yeah,
And
Talking about Gangrel.
Yeah, and we started on Vampire the Masquerade,
It's
and
like I was always like trying to forget, or not trying to forget. Well, maybe trying to forget who the fuck was riding around with Edge and Christian that
Yeah, it
whole
was
time.
Gangrel.
It was fucking
Gangrel.
Gangrel.
but
The Brood.
So
the fucking
that's
called
how
the
it's
Brood.
that's how it started. And then I went like a day and a half trying to remember Steve Blackman's name.
oh,
Because I
my
was
God.
like, the dude, he was like, his whole gimmick was a martial arts expert, and he wore the black pants and shit, and had the close shape.
Yeah.
I spent 2 days. I finally got on. Found an Attitude Era roster that covered the entire fucking Attitude Era, and found him on there. I was like, it's black something black, like
Steve Blackman.
Yeah, Steve Blackman. And I started going down this whole rabbit hole of finding all these like mid card, like hardcore Holly, and
Oh my God.
I
Shit, I forgot that I forgot about.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I
That's
didn't
nuts.
watch WCW regularly because I was a WWF mark, and I didn't.
same.
I also didn't like WCW stage. I
Yeah,
thought it was way too small.
Yeah, it was
And
garbage.
I didn't like it was like everything was black, so it was like everything looked smaller than it already looked.
Oh God, I was like maybe hardcore into WCW because like I was all counterculture and punk, and
It was
I don't
the
want to
edgy.
go.
Yeah, you had to go with the second one, the one that wasn't the mainstream.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like I had to.
He
go
would have
with-
been an AEW mark if he was watching today.
Oh, absolutely. Almost kind of am just because of fucking Orange Cassidy being too goddamn cool.
Top draw, baby. Top draw.
Top
Orange
draw.
Cassidy, freshly squeezed.
But one thing.
He's so good. You gotta watch it. We gotta watch some clips after the show.
Oh yeah. The one thing that I will say about WCW that, for me at least, like gave them an edge over WWE is they were much like AEW. They were willing to get into some like international, like let's actually see some other like forms of wrestling,
Yeah.
which was like the luchador boom.
Yeah.
that
I mean, they
happened
had a
at, like, the
sumo
late-
wrestler.
Yes.
Yeah, they had a sumo wrestler. They had
Yeah.
all the luchadors. They had like a whole fucking
Again,
group of
this
them.
is like AEW to
Yeah.
a T.
Oh,
like, They
absolutely.
bring people from Japan all the
Yeah.
time. They have luchadors on. Half their roster is luchadors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doing crazy shit.
Like the high flyers.
yeah.
like I again haven't watched wrestling in forever, but I saw a thing pop up the other day, and it made me feel extremely old when I started talking about Dominic Malenko. Or not Dominic Malenko, Dominic Mysterio.
yeah.
I was like,
the
fucking
memes that are coming out
Rey
about
Mys-
Dominic right now.
Rey Mysterio's son is wrestling with Rey Mysterio.
Wow.
What the
about that though?
Yeah.
So sit down, child. Let me tell you a little story. So
About Rey Mysterio?
about Dominic Mysterio.
Oh no.
He has a dummy mommy.
Oh, what?
He sure does. So
Is this a part of a work?
I don't know.
Razor's Edge.
So long story short,
Oh no, that's a different move.
you're right. Dominic Mysterio came out. He basically got the easy way to
Yeah.
the top because his dad is such a legendary wrestler.
Nepotism.
And he comes out and he wrestles, and he's been part of the show for probably a year and a half now, where he's always wrestling with his dad. And basically they always get their ass beat by some big villain people, and they put the villains over because that's what they do. But recently they have this new story arc where he was getting his ass beat by one of the female wrestlers, who is this big, jacked, awesome wrestler. And famously, she was like up on the ropes, and she was choking the shit out of him with her legs. And then it became a meme that like she was his dummy mommy. Because she's like clearly like wearing a bunch of dominatrix shit and has like all the piercings and the tattoos and stuff. And sure enough, he turned and joined her in the stable.
Of course.
And kicked Edge and his dad in the balls. And now he's got a dummy mommy. And the first episode after that happened, she came out and said she made him a man.
Oh my god.
So it actually was super cringe and annoying that he was wrestling because he's really bad, especially when they bring in people like Logan Paul and he's like amazing in his first match. And you're like, wow, what is this kid not doing right? And then this whole storyline started to happen, and now we're like, oh, fuck yes, this is amazing. It's fucking hilarious.
Wow.
It's such a good angle. Yeah. Now I fully expect that they're going to bring the paternity storyline back with Dominic.
Oh, god damn it. I remember that shit when they fucking Eddie Guerrero.
And the thing is, it works really well because Dominic Mysterio is huge compared to Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, because Rey Mysterio is like 4'3".
Yeah, Dominic is like a foot taller than him. So he looks like Eddie Guerrero more than he looks like Rey Mysterio. So like, I am like 90% sure that that's the route they're about to go. That like, oh, he really was his dad. Yeah, and they just hid it all this time.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm stoked. It's like, so dumb. I love it.
Well, we'll see if they pull it.
It shocks me to look at some of the wrestlers that, not just now, but even like the few years after I started watching it, and it's like Edge, for example. I never expected Edge to be a championship level fucking wrestler. He was mid-card the entire fucking time.
Yeah.
You know? And then all of a sudden they're like, hey, fucking, you're one of the top stars in the fucking country. You know, that's the shit that kind of irritates me, is when they're just like on a dime. And they did the same thing with Christian when he went to TNA. It's like Christian was getting his ass kicked every single week, and then he pops into TNA and becomes the champion like almost instantly.
Well, I'm not going to go too far into it because we're going to be here all night, but Christian came back to wrestling in AEW. He is probably the second best heel in wrestling right now.
Really?
Like, he is so fucking good on the mic.
I mean, I always liked Edge and Christian. Don't get me wrong. I liked Edge and Christian from the Brood.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. But they were always the team that I love to hate. You know.
Yeah.
Like,
which is their role.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And they were always good at it.
Mm-hmm.
But I never expected them to be like fighting for the champion level. I expected them to be mid-tier tag team, fucking intercontinental title level their entire fucking career.
Yeah, and in modern days, of course, you got to look at it in perspective. Like, the whole reason they're hyped so much right now is because they're old legends that left wrestling.
Right.
Edge left because he had a bad back injury.
I remember when that happened.
Made him retire,
and
then like he took a risk and came back because he wanted to, because he loved the business so much. And then he came out as a face, and then he became his old like heel self, and now this whole Dominic storyline happened, and he went heel again, or face again. But Christian in particular, because he's not under the WWE kind of management where they kind of gotta keep sponsors happy. He is brutal. Like, he's a fucking savage, and I mean, he goes for your fucking heart. Nice. Like, he is so good. I can't express how good Christian has been since he came back to wrestling outside of the WWF WWE umbrella. So yeah, a lot of great material out there. Whether you like WWE or AEW or any of the foreign brands like New Japan, there's so much top tier wrestling going on right now. And if you can find the time, I get it. Like, the time is the biggest problem. That Raw is 3 hours long on a Monday on a work night. Right. You know, people can't do that. Like, Rampage is an hour that starts at 10 on a Friday night. Like, nobody's watching 10 p.m. on a Friday. You know, so there's some complications with time management when it comes to wrestling, but man, if you can at least keep up with like the highlights, it's so worth it. It's so good right now. There's so much to enjoy.
I don't know if what my phone has been listening to, but it's been showing me like my Facebook feed is filled with like wrestling reels over the past, and I'll find myself like scrolling and ending up like actually watching these things, like fucking shit that I don't care about whatsoever. I'm like, I have no idea who any of these people are, but I'm still watching this, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, it's magic. I mean, even Stone Cold Steve Austin, who was like, for the longest time said, I'm not touching wrestling again. You know, I had this neck injury, and when I retired, I said that was it. That was, you know, I was done. And I mean, he was done for, I don't know, close to 20 years. And then this last WrestleMania, like, he came back for a match. I mean, he was old, like he had the big robot knee braces on both
Dude,
knees.
he's had those for like 35 years.
It was such a cool thing to see him out there again. And like
90-year-old Stone Cold in a diaper.
Drinking all of his beers and everything on the stage. Like it was awesome. Like like it really brought a lot of nostalgia and happy memories back to me. And you know, both of these companies, AEW, WWE, they're both doing great things, and there's also smaller brands that are also doing great things. So really love to see it. Let's move on. Next on the news, Cyberpunk 2077 has announced Phantom Liberty will be their first expansion for the game and will only come to current generation platforms. It will arrive in 2023. They have also announced that there will be no further updates for the PS4, Xbox One versions of the game. So, yep, you're fucked.
It'll come out in 2023 and it'll be playable in 2025.
Well, we'll see. Well, at least it's coming exclusively to the next gen platform, so they don't have the whole issue.
It still won't work.
Now,
ye of little faith.
Ye of no faith. I mean, let's be honest.
I actually
fool me once. No.
God damn it. I actually
we need that on a t-shirt.
Fool me once. No.
We have a clip of that from Perry saying that was a Perry line from our last stream.
It's like that what was that George W. Bush quote?
Yeah.
You
Like,
fool me once. You don't get fooled again.
Strategery. No, Cyberpunk 2077, yes, it was busted and broken all to hell when it first was released. Shame on you, CDPR, for doing that. But they have been making updates that have basically been released stealth mode because nobody knows when it happens, and when it does happen, people just out of nowhere come back and it's like, oh my god, this game it works now? There's still a lot of things that are missing, but the game isn't like busted all to hell. It steps in the right direction, I guess.
Yeah, and I give, you know, I give CD Projekt Red a lot of rope because
enough to hang themselves.
They have been so, you know, customer friendly in terms of what they've released for free and all the. That's amazing. Send me a screenshot of that so I could put it in the show. Yeah. But yeah, they have really been a consumer focused brand for a long time, and Cyberpunk really is like the first blemish on their track record. You know, I mean, you think of other developers, Bethesda's always the first one that comes to mind for releasing broken games on several platforms that just are unplayable for a year, 2 years. You know, EA is another one that does it with their Battlefield series, especially, where they release these broken half-assed games way too early, and then they don't fix them for like 2 years. You know,
I do need to mention that The Witcher 3 is a good game. Witcher 1 and 2, on the other hand, damn near unplayable.
I mean, to each their own. The controls are rough, but that's not like the game is broken.
The control for the first one is a glorified point-and-click adventure. It's not good. They improved a lot.
Yep.
A lot over the two games preceding The Witcher 3, The Wild Hunt. Available now on all platforms.
They are not sponsoring us. Do not shout them out like that.
Oh, come on. Please.
CD CD Projekt Red, if you would like to sponsor us, please reach out to us at HitTheBooksVids, VIDS, @gmail.com. Now we will proceed on trashing you for the next 10 to 20 minutes.
They know what they did. But they're improving.
That's
and
true.
I hate to quote the broken game apologist, Todd Howard from, what's that game company? Bethesda? The phrase, it's not so much important how a game comes out as it is where the game ends up.
Bullshit.
I mean, yes, it's bullshit.
Bullshit.
It's
I feel
also,
like-
unfortunately, the current state of gaming as it stands right
Bullshit.
now.
I feel like we need to hit a...
Corporate greed.
Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, you're not wrong. Except for when it comes to Bandai Namco in every single one of their... Okay, maybe not every single one of their Dark Souls games. 2, I'm looking at you. But it is far more rare for a game to come out working than it is for it to come
Yes.
out busted.
Yes.
And unfortunately, that's where we are right now.
I mean, I feel
It
like
fucking sucks.
I feel like we went down this rabbit hole quite a few weeks ago when we started talking about this and how, the age of online fucking games and instant patches and shit kind of dropped all integrity out of the developers, where they're like, we got to make making the deadline is more important than actually putting out a project that's good,
We're in the day one patch era.
Yeah.
Well, I think the thing that chaps my ass the most is that they still delay the fucking game.
Right.
Like, you can't do both, guys.
Delay
You
it.
can't delay and release the broken game.
Exactly.
Like, you need to choose one or the other.
Right.
Choose one or the other.
Preferably the not broken game. Let's choose that, please.
Preferably, but unfortunately, when it comes to corporate greed,
Corporate greed.
the unfortunate reality is that they're beholden to stockholders.
Another reason why this industry sucks now, as opposed to back in like the late 90s, early 2000s. When there were companies that didn't have stockholders.
Right.
When the companies were independent partnerships and LLCs and shit, so they didn't have stockholders that they had to be beholden to, and they could actually do what the fuck they wanted to.
You mean back when EA actually made games that weren't
I'm not
like a
talking.
copy-paste?
No, I'm not talking about EA, because EA has always been a corporate entity and a corporate shithole. I'm talking
yeah,
about
that's true.
all the other companies that aren't EA. EA was the Amazon of video game companies back in the 90s, even.
Nick says, eat the rich.
Yeah, absolutely. Fucking eat the rich. However, also, I'm talking about all of the other developers from the early 90s, even most of which are not around anymore or have been gobbled up by larger developers. But even talking about places like, Activision, Blizzard, fucking BioWare, before they were bought out by EA,
Bungie.
fucking Rockstar, all of the developers that are still around who used to be independent studios. Fucking can't think of the name of the one that I'm trying to think of, so fuck it. But these companies that built games because they wanted to build games, because they believed in the product, because they had stories and ideas that they wanted to tout out, not because they wanted to fucking make their quarterly income earnings look better. So it's fucking bullshit. It's all just corporate greed. And yeah, I'm gonna rant for like 10 more minutes if I don't shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it's corporate greed run amok, and the very clearly lost trust within CD Projekt Red is very much a result of this is what happens when corporate greed goes unchecked.
Yeah, and I think today is a perfect example of where corporate greed ruins the fun experience of a gaming console and games in general. We were playing some Soul Calibur before the show just for fun. I brought my PS5 down to the basement, and Yeah, before we could even play a fucking game, I had to download an update for my controllers.
Yeah.
Not the system, my controllers.
Then
Before we could
Yeah.
even open the game. Then we opened the game after downloading it, of course.
Yeah.
And Emery had to click through like 4 or 5 pages of
That was-
fucking legal
and
bullshit.
that
And-
was after sitting there watching the fucking thing spin because it had to check online for like 20 minutes.
Because it's mandatory online, of course, and it
Yeah.
has to connect to all their servers. It can't just play the fucking game locally without having to notify all the servers and send them all your fucking proprietary data so they can sell it to the lowest fucking bidder. You know, like
Highest bidder.
excuse me, the highest bidder. I'm in a low place, not the bidders. But yeah. It was just ridiculous. Like, it took us 20 minutes just to fucking play a
Yeah.
game.
And
Like, I can't imagine what a fucking, 10-year-old kid, like, getting a
Absolutely.
brand new game. Oh, I got to sit here and wait for a 90
Right.
gigabyte download, and I got to update my controller.
Guess
and it
what?
has to be connected to the internet, so if the internet goes down, I can't play my fucking game.
Guess what? You get that fucking Xbox or PS whatever number it's going to be for Christmas. You're not playing anything on Christmas. How much does that suck?
Yeah,
when
you
we
gotta
were-
like wait for everything
Yeah.
to download,
When
and you
we
gotta
were- when-
agree to things that
you know,
you don't ever read.
old
Yeah.
guy screaming at clouds. But when we were younger, when like the Nintendo 64 came out, or even like the fucking PlayStation 2, or even the first gen Xbox or whatever, you opened the fucking package, you plugged it into your TV, you popped out the fucking game, you put it in, and you played the fucking game.
Yeah, exactly.
There was no waiting for shit to load, waiting for shit to download, or any of that. Yes, these games are much more sophisticated. Yes, the graphics much more memory intensive, and
Yeah.
an average PlayStation 2 game was like 500 meg, maybe,
Yeah.
probably closer to like 120 meg, whereas
Yeah.
these games are multi tens of gigabytes.
Yeah.
However, it's still fucking bullshit.
I don't think it's necessary for us to sign 5 legal arbitration agreements
Yes, exactly.
to play a fucking game.
Yeah.
Like, it's just ridiculous. Again, and that's complete corporate overlord bullshit. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
we got to make sure if there ever is a lawsuit from these 10-year-olds playing our goofy fighting game, we need to make sure that they have to go through an independent
Right.
arbitrator that we designate,
Yeah.
because
And
we
that-
don't want to pay court costs.
Yeah,
you know?
we're not
Corporate
liable for
greed.
anything. Yes.
Yes.
Corporate greed strikes again, and it's going to keep striking as long as we keep paying.
So
Now, imagine-
speaking of that Soul Calibur game, how'd that go?
Well, let's not talk about it. So, Nick, Emery and I we pride ourselves, I think, on being fighting game fans and players. Granted, I haven't played Soul Calibur in a while. I assume the same for you.
The last Soul Calibur I had played was Soul Calibur 2, I
Well,
think.
Nick just fucking wiped the floor with us and beat us 5 times in a row before we finally got a victory. And I mean, Emery was full focused, like full spine erect, ready to go, leaning forward in his chair.
Sitting straight up, using my mane, I had to very carefully remember exactly when to fucking block your character, because God damn, your button mashing skills
Yeah.
are just.
I was just
I was not
picking
re-
random I don't know any of these characters. The first one, I used the dude with the staff because that's what I remembered using back in Soul Calibur 2 or whatever the fuck it was. And so I used him first, and then you're like, oh no, he's usually banned and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah,
So I was like, all right,
tournament illegal.
all right, fucking.
Well, he used
I'll-
12 other characters and beat our ass with
Yeah.
those ones too. So
Yeah, so we had no excuse.
it's a wash.
Like,
Yeah.
it was a wash. I had to summon all of my old skills back in order to beat you the one
Yeah,
time.
I had no idea what the fuck I was doing with any of those characters. I honestly was just beating the shit out of the buttons.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was downright just embarrassing. I felt a lot of shame. I'm not gonna lie. I could barely win around.
I'm literally re-downloading the game tonight.
It's salty as fuck over here.
It's like I can't be rusty.
We're gonna have a
Well,
a
that's what salt
fucking-
does.
Yep. Son of a bitch.
Sorry.
a montage of like the Rocky montage, and instead he's gonna have the sweatband with
Yeah.
the controller in his hands. Like,
I am the tiger.
Oh, wait! I can't see. You gotta cut me.
That mix-up was bullshit. Like, just
My
my
that's
character
his
was
entire fucking
my
deal.
character had to be close to do a
shit.
combo.
yeah,
But you have
could literally
you have the
reach-
advantage if there's a close contact because you can get behind me.
yeah,
Whereas long distance characters, you couldn't get behind them.
yeah. Get behind you, pull you in, and then just fucking rake you.
Fucking reeling him in, fucking vaudeville style.
But yeah, back to the original point. Just imagine, you know, you're this young kid. Your parents get you, 1 or 2 games a year, usually on Christmas or your
Yeah.
birthday. You sit down, you plug it in, you go through the hassle of downloading your fucking firmware update and your controller update, and you download the fucking game, and then you download the day 1 patch, and you download the DLC that comes in the little packet or whatever. You finally get through all that bullshit, you sign all the legal documents, and then the game's broken.
Oh yeah, it would be fucking terrible.
Can you imagine?
That was Cyberpunk 2077 on day 1.
Like, it's just infuriating. Like, it's inexcusable that the game industry has gone this way, and I really feel bad for I'm about to have a son within the next few weeks, and like, I'm excited to share all of these things: comic books, video games, toys, all this great stuff we talk about every week, wrestling, but I don't know what I'm giving him because I see these fucking game experiences. I'm like, he's never going to have that magical moment on Christmas Day where he just gets this new system or this new game, sits down and plays it immediately, and just spends the whole night, stays up late with dad playing his new game system. Like, he's never going to have that because he's going to spend 5 hours waiting on updates, and then the game's going to be broken and unplayable.
There is one way to secure that experience.
Buy an Xbox.
No, not buying an Xbox.
I meant like the original Xbox or like a PlayStation 2.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you could do that. But if you're trying to give him that experience with modern day consoles, you would literally have to prep all of that maybe a day in advance.
Yeah, you'd have to open the box and everything and do everything for him just so he doesn't have to deal with it. And then hopefully, fingers crossed, the game's not broken.
Yes.
Like we were talking about, the whole, opening the Xbox or the PlayStation Christmas morning and all that shit. No, you would have to literally set the shit up at night.
When they're not looking.
Yeah.
While kids
Just have it ready on the TV or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Like, while most parents are putting bikes together or doll houses together, you're downloading fucking firmware updates for your Xbox controller.
It's probably less frustrating, though, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, probably.
I just put together a bunch of furniture for the baby from IKEA. God, it's like a whole day of just
Easy.
misery.
Easy.
Is like furniture. Okay, that was hard. IKEA. God, what were you thinking?
Next up on the news, according to the CNBC report, yes, Dan Lin, the guy that was rumored to become the next Kevin Feige of the DC universe, according to David Zaslav, has exited negotiations with Warner Bros. Discovery. According to the report, the two parties reached an impasse due to Lin wanting to keep his production company, Ride Back, running under the WBD umbrella. However, they could not agree on compensation for stakes in the production company or maintaining the production company, so he said, fuck this, I'm out. So Dan Lin will not be the Kevin Feige of the new DC cinematic universe going forward. So they are back to square one again, without a leader and without an idea, and with a bunch of canceled projects and movies, including shit that they already paid for and finished.
It seems like going back to square one is just a modus operandi for that company.
At what point do you just
tap out?
To use a wrestling term, at what time do you just tap out? Fucking
like, somebody
Jesus.
buy us and give us better direction. We don't know what we're doing.
Maybe it's
You
a
know
work.
what- you know
Did
what
you
would
ever
be-
think of that?
You know what would be hilarious?
God.
Dan Lin's
Jesus.
gonna come back when nobody expects it. Full
fucking
face.
elbow drop the entire.
It's time for somebody to straighten this company out.
No, what would be hilarious is if fucking Disney bought them out.
I mean, with the way they're trying to save money, you kind of wonder if that's even a possibility.
See a
'cause
Batman Iron Man mashup.
Oh,
they
my
seem to be
God.
doing everything possible and alienating every fan they possibly can to save fucking $30, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see if Disney has the money.
Oh, come on.
Well, we just talked about last week and I think the week prior as well about Embracer Group, which is this random Swedish, speaking of IKEA, Swedish investment company that's just been buying everything. And
Yeah.
last week we talked about how they bought a bunch of Square Enix studios,
Yeah.
including the Tomb Raider producer and all of these others, you know.
And that was after buying both the film and the game rights to the Lord of the Rings.
Right.
for
yeah,
$800 million.
Yeah, we talked about that
Yeah.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're buying up everything.
Yeah.
Just
Fucking
all these
ridiculous.
Like, what?
peaceful Vikings just
What
buying
the
everybody.
fuck is
No,
happening?
I mean, I'm waiting for I am waiting for Warner Brothers Discovery to go under and get bought out by somebody. I don't think it'll be Disney. I would assume it would be somebody like Amazon is going to buy them out.
I mean, that would make sense.
I would put my money on Amazon as opposed to Disney because Disney
I mean, they
doesn't.
just lost out on the Lord of the Rings rights to
Right.
this random Swedish investment group. So
Yeah, so why not buy DC and maybe fucking Jeffrey Bezos could actually do something with fucking DC.
yeah, like shoot Superman into space on a penis rocket. Yeah, that sounds like something he would do.
Look, hey, if the man already goes out of his way to look like Lex Luthor,
I mean,
It's true.
He is
That
perfect
is
for the
true.
role.
it's like it would be perfect for him to own Superman.
Yes.
Next up on the news, we have Assassin's Creed Infinity being rumored to be released at the upcoming Ubisoft fan event.
It was
Now, of course, we also heard
my
last
God.
week about how Assassin's Creed Mirage, which is the next main entry in the Assassin's Creed franchise, is coming out basically in Baghdad, as the early rumors predicted. So,
Man, yelling clouds. I remember back in the day watching an episode of, do you remember the show X-Play?
yes,
With Adam Sessler?
on the fucking G4 network.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Tech TV before G4 bought him out.
Well, yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I remember watching an episode and them being super excited because for the first time in like years, there were all these brand new IPs coming out. And I remember the exact words Adam Sessler said. He's like, this is really cool, but this is kind of what happens. And, in a few years, we're going to see the God of War 6s, the Assassin's Creed 6s, and everything like that.
Yeah.
And now that we're on what fucking number Assassin's Creed are we on?
well, let's see here. There's Assassin's Creed 1, there's Assassin's Creed 2, there's Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, there's Assassin's Creed something or other that was a next sequel to Assassin's Creed 2. There's Assassin's Creed 3, 4, Rogue,
Liberation on the PS Vita.
Liberation, if we're counting that, yeah. Syndicate, Unity, so that's 10.
Valhalla.
Valhalla, Origins, what was the one in between? Odyssey,
There's
and Mirage will be 14.
There was also the 15th one. It was a very, very small one that took place in China.
Oh,
Because-
yeah.
Because
Well-
we're never going to Japan.
And then there was the PSP spin-off with the girl in the dress, which I think was it Liberation.
Yeah, that
and
was
then there was the
Liberation.
one that had the black pirate character from Assassin's Creed 4.
Yeah.
I can't. That was on PS Vita.
Yeah, that was Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. I think that was the name of it.
Well, Black Flag was the actual number 4.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was the character from it. He had his own game, I think. Maybe it was DLC. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think it was Freedom Cry.
Freedom Cry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you got it. Yep,
That's
that's
the
it.
one.
So yeah, like there's 15, 16.
Yeah. So, like, having that memory when I was younger, watching that show, I never expected there to be 15 fucking... Because I remember those were the two that they specifically said, because it was the year God of War and Assassin's Creed came out.
Yeah.
And they were super excited to have these new IPs.
And it was, to your point, it was supposed to be a Prince of Persia sequel.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I know. I know.
So it was supposed to be Prince of
However-
Persia 4.
However, now we're at the point where we have 15 Assassin's Creeds. I don't even know how many God of War games we've had. Let's get some new IPs.
Well,
please.
I think to be fair to the gaming industry, as much as we rip on them almost every episode, this recent Gamescom was a good example of
That
a lot
is
of
true.
new IPs.
It-
A lot of mid-tier stuff. But
yes and no, because a lot of those IPs were basically spiritual successors to other games.
That's fair.
Because it was people who left those industries and were like, I want to make a sequel, but I don't have rights to that IP anymore.
you've got a point.
So
Yeah,
it's
fucking
pretty
Callisto
much the
Protocol,
same
yeah.
fucking thing.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
Very fair.
Entirely fair. Callisto Protocol, we're so looking forward to you being Dead Space 4.
Yes. So yeah, there's a lot going on in the games industry. Speaking of the games industry, we got some news out of Sony. PS5 quietly got a redesign that reduced the size of the motherboard, adding a cooling pipe and reducing the size of the heatsink. It's also estimated that the console is more efficient by roughly 20 to 30 watts per hour. It is also estimated that to have reduced costs, looking at the price increase in Europe.
Ooh.
So they're making a cheaper console that's more expensive. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, you know what it is.
Hit us.
Corporate greed.
Exactly. They also released a quiet update to support 1440p monitors for PC gamers. So that's good for them if you play on a PC monitor. The update also added some long-promised games list functions and some social feature updates. The head engineer architect of both the PS4 and PS5, Masayasu Ito, has announced that he will be retiring. He is credited along with Mark Cerny for taking the PlayStation in a positive direction post the debacle of the PS3 and the
PS3.
cell processor and all that terrible stuff.
The reason why I switched to Xbox.
So a lot of interesting stuff coming out of Sony. Some good, some bad. Obviously, Masayasu Ito basically saved Sony, at least their PlayStation brand, from probably being sold off to some highest bidder. After the PS3 was just, they made a profit on it in the end, famously. But it took a long time for that to happen because they just really fucked themselves.
The PS3 was a giant clusterfuck to begin with, and the fact that it came out at $600 when you could get
it's insanely expensive.
when you could get an Xbox
yeah.
360 for $400.
Yeah, a year earlier.
Yeah,
They came out a year before the PS3,
Yeah.
and it was still cheaper.
Yeah.
And better.
I had both a PS2 and an Xbox. And at the time, I was like, fucking yeah, I'm going to get a PS3. I'm going to get a PS3. Then they announced the price points, and I'm like, fuck that noise. I'm getting an Xbox.
And I don't know if you remember, but there really wasn't anything worth playing on it for the first 2 years.
The only game,
yeah.
literally the only game that I wanted to get a PS3 for was Metal Gear.
Yeah. That's
Metal Gear Solid
basically
was
what
the
everybody...
only thing
Yeah.
that I wanted to get a PS3
And
for.
quite frankly, it wasn't better than the PS2 Metal Gears, in my
no.
opinion.
Metal Gear Solid 3 is
Metal
still
Gear-
technically
yes.
the best one.
I was going to say Metal Gear Solid 2 was kind of garbage, but
yeah.
when you played half the game as not Snake, as, what was his name? Raiden?
Raiden.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fucking, and his little
He got his own
fucking
game.
aerial flips over the when. Oh my god! Get the fuck out of here.
Speaking of which, Kojima has a podcast. We should all listen.
yeah, we should.
Thank you, Kojima.
He's crazy. And then he
That
made a
dude-
game about being a UPS man. So,
He is a that dude is a fucking genius, but he's also insane. And it's a. I mean, I understand that those things are usually go hand in hand
Yeah.
a lot of times, but fucking what? I mean,
Death Stranding is what happens when no one tells you no.
yeah. Explain to me, someone who's not on crack, explain to me the overarching plot line of the Metal Gear Solid franchise and make it not sound like you're on crack.
nanomachines.
We want to take this one guy and make him fight a giant walking nuclear-equipped
But-
battle tank.
Yeah,
He's a clone
but
of
then-
another guy who also
Exactly.
fought a
Yes.
giant walking battle bot.
Who is also a clone, who also has another clone, who there's also this other clone of that clone who is really the real guy.
Oh, and by the way, the clones all age really rapidly.
Yeah.
So the real guy's going to show up and be like, hey, old clone of me.
Who's actually younger than me.
Happy death.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go to another game where you think you're the original guy, but at the end, it's a secret reveal that you're just some rando fucking guy that thinks he's the real guy.
Yeah.
Oh God,
What?
Metal Gear Solid fucking
The
5.
fuck,
Yeah.
man.
Okay.
Metal Gear Solid is ridiculous.
It is, but I love it.
It's so fun.
good.
It's so
Okay.
fun.
It's so good.
Okay, those mainline games were pretty fucking crazy. But Metal Gear Rising, though.
I never played Rising.
Okay. This is the game that actually made Raiden a good character. It achieved the impossible and made someone like Raiden worth playing as.
I'm sorry. No, Raiden wasn't in Metal Gear Solid 2, was he?
He was.
Oh, okay.
He was.
So
Yeah,
Metal
he
Gear
was the cartwheel flip dude.
Yes. No, I was trying to remember because I was getting 1, 2, and 3
Spandex
confused.
Ninja.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was in my head. I
Not
was
to be
getting,
confused with the actual ninja.
Okay, yeah. So yes, it was Metal Gear Solid, the original Metal Gear Solid that had fucking
It's the Cyborg Ninja.
no yeah
Psycho Mantis?
Psycho Mantis when he read your fucking memory
Yeah, your
card and you
memory
had to
stick,
switch
yeah.
the fucking controllers. You had to switch the controller to port 2. That's the shit I want to see now. Is shit like that.
Shit that actually like messes with your perception of what a fucking game can
Yes.
do.
Don't worry, you'll get it after the next 6 updates. Make sure you slot some time for a 20 gigabyte update.
Like and subscribe their YouTube channel for downloaded extra content.
Yeah. Speaking of downloaded extra content, we received some news about Hogwarts Legacy, the Harry Potter-based game that is basically your own role-playing Harry Potter universe game in the 1800s. The game will not feature Quidditch.
Are you
We don't-
fucking kidding me?
I mean,
Why?
I'm okay with that because we don't need another Blitzball minigame inside.
I need
That is-
Blitzball mini games.
Okay.
I love Blitzball, you son of a bitch.
I was about to side with you until you made the Blitzball point. Now I'm with you. There is absolutely no reason in a game that should be about you casting magic and beating up some evil wizard that we need you looking for a tiny ball that
Sir,
flies around.
You don't have to be the one chasing the snitch. You can also beat people with a club. You can also be the goalkeeper.
Okay, let me
You can
tell
also
you.
throw the little
If
ball
I wanted to
through the hoops.
If I wanted to play Magic FIFA, I would play Magic FIFA.
If there is,
But
any,
it doesn't exist. That's the problem.
I am sure you can find a Quidditch game on the internet somewhere.
There's one that was on PS2.
There you go.
Okay,
But I do not own a PS2, and I don't think anybody's adapted it.
yeah, I want you to listen to me right now. If you are not the person looking for the golden snitch in a Quidditch match,
There's
you don't
no
matter.
point to your existence.
Sir, what if I want to roleplay being a Quidditch superstar at Hogwarts?
Then you're the person looking for the fucking golden snitch.
Yeah.
And
If-
why? And I can't do that, can I, Emery?
Right. Here's
yeah.
the
It's
thing.
not in the game.
Here's the thing with that. If you are excited to look for a tiny little ball that its entire shtick is that it's hard to fucking look at, what the fuck are you doing?
If you're not the seeker, you are as useless as a salad at Mar-a-Lago. I mean, let's be completely honest.
That was perfect. That was good.
Hashtag eat the rich. There we go.
Hashtag make the rich eat a salad.
I think I'm gonna get you a T-shirt that has you on the back going like this and the corporate greed figure, and then the front's just gonna say "Eat the rich."
I'm down for it. I like it.
Hit the books, like and subscribe. But yeah, just thought that was bullshit. You will still be able to fly around on brooms and stuff, but hopefully they add it as like DLC or something.
That you have to pay for.
Another piece of this part's
Of
actually,
course you have to fucking pay for it.
of course, because
They're gonna make you pay for
corporate
Quidditch.
greed. Another part of this that is actually pretty cool. You can get sorted in your house right now if you want to. You go to wizardingworld.com where you can link your WB Games account and proceed with sorting into a house. Basically, it gives you like a questionnaire, and based on what you answer in the questionnaire, you get sorted into a house. I've done it in the past, like, I don't know, like 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, because I played like the PS2 Harry Potter games. It's very simple. You can tell where they're going to put
Oh,
you
yeah.
based on what they're asking you. Like
Oh.
it's very obvious. So if you want to manipulate it, you can. I wish it was a little more subtle.
Are you brave or are you slimy and slippery?
Yeah.
Son of a bitch. I'm slimy and slippery. That's Slytherin, isn't it?
No, it's Hufflepuff.
Hey, Hufflepuff for life.
Do you want to be one of the two main, or do you want to be one that doesn't matter?
See, I've always had this fun idea that I think should have been incorporated. I think the Sorting Hat should place you based on your weaknesses, not on your strengths.
Agreed.
So if you're like a greedy, slimy son of a bitch, they should put you in Hufflepuff and teach you like the aspects of being a caring, like sound individual, and like balances you out and like balances your weaknesses. And then
good theory.
if you're like headstrong, way too brave, way too gung ho, like stereotypical Gryffindor,
They
they put you in Ravenclaw or
so that
Slytherin.
you learn how to read.
Yeah, if you're if you're too caring and selfless to the point of detriment, they put you in Slytherin, so you start to like take care of yourself and like think about your own needs.
Right.
Like, I always thought that would be way cooler than like what they do is just like, oh, you're a piece of shit, you're going to Slytherin.
Yeah.
You're like the
yeah.
hero. Okay, go to Gryffindor. You're smart. Go to Ravenclaw. Oh, you're caring. Go to Hufflepuff.
Oh, you don't matter? Go to Hufflepuff.
Yeah.
Hey. We at least had Tonks.
We all know Ravenclaw's the best. So just saying.
I'm sorry, who's from Ravenclaw?
Everybody that matters. Like,
In which ones?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't give a fuck. But me.
You.
Me.
You. Is this about you?
Yes, this is about me.
Way to make this about you.
Hey, if I'm a Ravenclaw, I get to hang out with Sandman and make funny jokes.
How does that work?
Hold on.
He's got a raven.
Oh, son of a bitch.
All right, dumb joke aside. This is a pretty cool feature. Basically, once the game is launched, you can generate a QR code that you can use to import your information to the game. Doing so will get you a Beak Skull mask and a House Fanatic school robe item when the game launched. So cool to see. Nice little feature. I did kind of hope they were a little more thoughtful in the selection process and maybe even like put you in a random house. Like I thought that might be cool.
Like
Oh,
the
yeah.
publishing house?
Well,
Hey-oh.
well.
Hey.
Speaking of corporate greed.
Corporate greed.
Next up on the news, we have some updates about Moonbreaker, the tabletop digital game that was announced at Gamescom. It will allow you to try the game for free this weekend and the weekend of September 16th. It'll allow you to create custom armies, paint miniatures, and try out the game's mechanics. I thought that was kind of a nice feature, so if you're interested in that, go check that out. I know Emery is a big tabletop player. Are you interested in this at all?
Moonbreaker, I would need to actually see the announcement for it,
I
kind of get a
don't know.
feel.
I really don't know anything about this thing.
We
so-
talked about it briefly 2 episodes ago, but basically it takes a digital representation of a tabletop game that's very reminiscent of like Warhammer 40K,
Yeah.
but prettier. Like,
Yeah.
like a happier version of Warhammer 40K.
Not nearly as grim and dark.
Yeah,
Ooh, it lets you paint miniatures.
which is very reminiscent of the D&D project they announced
Yeah,
not too long ago, right?
Yeah, the D&D tabletop simulator that they're working on.
Yeah.
Yep. In the Star Trek world, we got a bunch of kind of previews of upcoming shows that they're adapting, but we also got the announcement that we will be receiving season 3 of Picard on February 23rd, 2023.
I still have not sat down and watched that. I've heard it's really good, but
I've heard the first season is decent. I've heard the second season is terrible, but I have not watched it myself.
yeah, I have
Despite
yet to watch
Sir
it.
Pat Stew, of course, being a guest on our show every week.
Yes.
Like, we love Sir Pat Stew here on the show, but guys, come on.
Did you watch it? What'd you think? Just brief summary.
When you have episodes of an octogenarian having a flashback in the middle of a gunfight, maybe it's time to acknowledge the actor's age and maybe retire the character.
We'll see.
That's fair.
I do. I mean, I'm a huge Next Generation mark.
Same.
I will always be. I still watch
Same.
that show on a regular basis just for shits and giggles.
Every episode with Q is a fucking gold mine.
Absolutely.
It still makes me laugh that late in the show's life cycle they have Beverly fuck a ghost for no apparent reason.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's my favorite thing
I-
about Star Trek.
I still.
I'm gonna need some tea after that.
I will be. Jesus Christ.
Earl Grey, hot.
Speaking of hot, no. I'll be honest. I have not consumed any new Star Trek content since Enterprise because of Enterprise. Scott Bakula, you bastard, you piece of.
Did you watch the movies at all?
I've watched, yes, the Chris Pine ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did watch those. I did enjoy the Chris Pine.
Yeah.
Mainly because Zachary Quinto might even be better than Leonard Nimoy when it comes to Spock. I'm sorry I said it.
He did a great job. I can't argue
fantastic.
that. He really did. And I mean, it was great that they even had Leonard Nimoy show up on one of the movies and address him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So-
that was incredible. I never expected them to go that far.
I remember hearing an interview with J.J. Abrams about that before it came out, and people are like, how are you going to fit this into the canon and not piss off all of these Star Trek nerds and not like reboot it? And he's just like his cocky J.J. Abrams. He's like, just trust me. Just trust me.
Don't worry, guys. I got this.
Don't worry, I got it. And he fucking did.
He sure did. He sure did.
That was fantastic.
You ever seen a lens flare? I got this, guys.
I'm gonna
don't
make this
know.
fucking sexy iPod generation looking thing, and it's gonna be fucking fantastic.
I don't know if you know this, but I like lens flares.
I
Do
don't.
you like
I
the
mean-
feeling of being blinded without actually being blinded?
Hey, Star Wars too? I'm gonna lens flare that as well.
Oh yeah, I'm a lens flare the shit out.
It's like a Quentin Tarantino and feet. God, you just can't have a Quentin Tarantino movie without a foot shot. Sucking on toes.
If you want to send Chris your lewd Quentin Tarantino foot art,
Yeah, we need some more Dr. Feet art sent to hitthebooksvids@gmail.com. Paramount Plus has a lot of really like top tier I feel like Paramount Plus is like the odd man out that people are getting the Disney Plus, they're getting the Netflix for like the super like pop culture highly necessary stuff. But I feel like Paramount has like per capita the best quality content.
I didn't realize what all Paramount owned the rights to. Like we got Paramount Plus a little while ago because there was so many like Nickelodeon shows and shit for my kids to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I found out from Lindsay actually that they have Daria and like old MTV cartoons on Paramount Plus.
It's like
They got South
out
Park
of
on
fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
They have this shit.
South Park, yeah.
Yeah, they have a ton of great content. So, shout out to Paramount. Like, even their interface is really nice. Like, it runs really well, really polished. Like,
It's a lot better than the Discovery Plus app was when it
it's a
until
little
recently.
rough. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got it
That-
as a free trial for
That was
Verizon.
fucking
and it was-
glitchy as fuck.
Yeah, it's rough. And it like
It's-
HBO Max is even worse.
Yeah,
Like,
like the
HBO
Paramount
Max would crash regularly.
The Discovery Plus has gotten significantly better. Don't get me wrong, but when it first came out, it would like you'd be scrolling through, especially on the Apple TV. You'd be scrolling through, then all of a sudden you'd be you'd be all the way back to the beginning without actually fucking hitting something. It would take you from like the fourth column down, 10 titles over, all the way back to the fucking first one.
Yeah, I would like to see like something happen between Peacock and Paramount where they unite and really like, I don't know. I feel like if one or the other purchased each other, they could have like a top tier app that could compete with
Absolutely.
all these other services.
I agree.
Because I really do think Paramount Plus does a lot of really good things. But
Oh God, you mentioned HBO Max, and I'm just now remembering there's a show that I've been wanting to watch just to see how good or how terrible it is, and it's the Pennyworth show.
yeah, I've heard it's not bad. I've heard it's decent, but
I forgot that they did that.
The premise is real dumb.
The premise is real dumb.
Alfred Pennyworth, superhero, or whatever, the super spy, or whatever the fuck.
Yeah,
Yes,
they basically make him James Bond. You know, like
The name's
prequel.
Pennyworth.
Yeah, it's just
Alfred Pennyworth.
It's like, I used to be James Bond, but then an old friend of mine decided to have me watch their child. What?
Yeah.
I
Why would
decided
you
I
ever
would
stop?
change diapers instead.
Why would you ever stop being James Bond?
What if Alfred's just a pedophile?
Oh.
Like he was just molesting Bruce Wayne, and that's why he's all
No.
crazy.
Don't
and that's,
give them ideas.
and that's why Bruce Wayne adopts all these orphans, because he passes his trauma on to others, and it's just a horrible cycle.
No.
of
the
grandpa
comic book
pedophile.
the comic book
No.
industry recovered from the book The Seduction of the Innocent because of the Comics Code Authority
Yeah.
back in like the late 60s, early 70s, and now you want to bring this shit back in.
I'm just assuming Doing Cocaine Comics doesn't listen to this show.
Oh my god.
If you are listening, disregard. Don't do this. It was a joke.
Just don't use any of their clips so they don't notice with like a copyright strike or something.
Yeah, they'll fucking copyright strike us mid-episode for our allusion to Pennyworth the show.
You just gotta not do it.
Next up on the news, Chadwick Boseman has officially won an Emmy for his voice acting efforts in the Marvel What If series. The actor, of course, tragically passed from cancer in 2020. So, nice little anecdote. Not much to talk about there, but just cool that he managed to get this posthumous award.
Yeah. This is
See,
actually
he fucking said it too.
posthumous. It's posthumous.
Yeah.
Whatever.
They were
I've always said
said posthumous as well, and
It's
then
like,
they,
yeah, after
then
the
they-
joke.
Then they shat on me during the stream because I said posthumous.
Did they really?
Yeah, like hardcore
How
shat
coincidental. I don't know. I gotta look it up because I've always heard it pronounced.
on me. Oh, I looked it up.
posthumous.
I looked it up afterwards. This is
Is it real?
posthumous.
Really?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I've always said
Fuck the British.
Yeah,
This is America, damn it.
I've always said
We control this language now.
posthumous as well. But yeah, then
English is now, old man.
both him and my brother shat on me because of the fact that I said posthumous.
All right. All right.
What I was going to say after bringing up that old wound.
Speaking of salt, there's a lot of it.
A lot to go around. It's all Salt Bay over here. Chadwick Boseman winning a posthumous, was it an Emmy Award for
Yes.
that?
Emmy. Yep.
It kind of echoes what happened with Heath Ledger in 2008 when he won an Oscar posthumously. Of
course, Heath
for
Ledger
his role as
deserved
the
it.
Joker.
It was a joke.
You
Hold on.
son
Wait.
of a bitch.
Wait. Because to an extent, I agree with you. To an extent, not because Chadwick Boseman didn't deserve an Emmy, he did, but probably not for What If.
Definitely not for What If.
Definitely not for What If. That like there are much more deserving projects that he was a part of
Yes.
that he deserved to win in
I
any
agree.
kind of award for before
Chadwick
his work
Boseman
with
was
What If.
a fantastic actor. He deserved multiple awards for multiple different projects. Not for What If, but I feel like it was kind of if we don't get him one here, he's never going to get one because that was like
Yeah.
literally the last thing that he did.
Yeah, that it seems, and I hate to say it, it seems like a fucking publicity stunt.
Yeah.
Probably. You know, again, not to shit on him. Like I just did it to be funny, but yeah, I haven't watched What If, so I watched the first one.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
like the last one that I watched was that one, and the T'Challa as fucking Star-Lord was absolutely terrible. Not because of Chadwick Boseman, but the plot was fucking stupid.
It made no sense.
When you
It
make
was-
Thanos a good guy just because T'Challa was able to talk to him. Get the fuck out of here. No, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
I'm inevitable. I'm going to erase half of life in the universe.
No, please don't.
We do not do that here.
Yeah, we do not do that here.
Have you maybe thought, no? No, it's unfortunate, and the thing that actually breaks my heart is that you can hear the pain in his voice when he's performing. And like it made me want to like the episode more, and I wish I did like the episode more, but god damn it, that writing was so goddamn stupid.
Do you ever think we're just a bunch of assholes on the internet?
Yeah, pretty much.
With Chad Boseman, he was great, and it was a crime what they saddled him with as like his last thing with Marvel.
Yeah, and there's no doubt he was great in the Spike Lee movies, especially, and then obviously Black Panther is iconic. Like he has a lot to be proud of, a lifetime of achievement. But yeah, what if? Probably not the
not the one to give it to him.
Yeah. Moving on, we have received some news that Elden Ring will be receiving a manga adaptation. There's currently 2 chapters out, but it's a comedy. Of course, yes, it's official. It can be read freely online, and we'll have 12 total chapters when fully complete. I just thought I'd read you a little synopsis of the comedy from the FromSoft series Elden Ring. Isao, a poor, tarnished wretch, finds himself cast into Limgrave, naked, penniless, hopeless, and maidenless. His only hope is his harsh, unforgiving new home is a mysterious woman named Melina. A cast of colorful characters awaits Isao along the way. Patches, the untethered, Blade, the half-wolf, Margit, the Fell Omen, Godric, the Grafted, and of course, Rani the Witch. With little but a loincloth between Isao and certain death, he strikes out for the first stop on his quest, Stormvale Castle. He will make it there, or will his... this is terrible. Will he make it there, or will his journey end before it even begins?
My interest in this ended before it ever began. This seems like a terrible idea.
Okay, now let me try to do a better job of selling you on this. So you start out in a world where you have no recollection of who or what the fuck you were before this moment, and you realize that you are... I'm going to use street terms for this one. You got no fit, no racks, and no bitches. And your goal...
Rude boy, lewd boy.
Rude boy, lewd boy. And your goal is to essentially take a stick and go kill God.
Yeah.
I, as someone who has played the shit out of that game, it's a ton of fun. It's a stupid, silly amount of fun because all of the characters that you meet are some kind of fucked in the head.
And don't worry, George R.R. Martin is working on this game instead of his fucking books that he still hasn't finished.
George? Let me talk to you for a second, George.
He's busy consulting on this comedy manga.
Yeah. Fucking George.
And watching off-season basketball.
Jesus Christ. Win's a winner, George. Win's a fucking winter. Fix the shit you broke. Fix it before you die of a fucking Big Mac-induced heart attack.
Oh.
You bastard.
Man literally got to beta test the end of his series.
Launched on Steam.
We got updates.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Pay now for early access, please.
He released 2 chapters like 7 years ago. And that was the last thing that we heard.
Oh, yeah.
I highly recommend that you watch the second half of Sandman episode 11, the bonus episode. I think George R.R. Martin could use a little help.
Oh. Oh, I'm watching that tonight.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's very good. Like I said, it should have been the whole episode. It's one of my favorite stories from the comic, but definitely check it out.
Is there like an extra like member of the Endless called Inspiration?
Well, do you remember a story about perhaps the former wife of Dream?
Say no more.
There you go.
Say no more.
That's what it is.
The real question is who will release first, George R.R. Martin or Patrick fucking Rothfuss?
Oh, I'm definitely going to say Patrick Rothfuss. Just because Patrick Rothfuss, like, how many things does he put in front of the thing that he keeps saying he's going to release? Because I guarantee you, George R.R. Martin's answer to that question is literally everything else.
Patrick Rothfuss is too busy playing D&D. Let's be honest. Patrick Rothfuss is way too busy playing D&D to finish his fucking books.
Yeah, I mean, when you're having all that much fun,
This is the problem with being famous mid-cycle, you know?
Yeah.
You need the tortured artist to be tortured while he's finishing his project, and then he gets famous.
Yeah.
That's what
they
you
have no reason to actually finish this shit now.
No.
I mean,
none at all.
George R.R. Martin got, I want to say, next to no recognition for doing his version of Beauty and the Beast back in the 80s.
Oh, God. Why?
But
Why?
now that he gets it, he's like, oh, you want me to do that with you? Okay, I'll do that. I'll do that. I'll do that. What do you mean I had a book to finish? They're doing the show. It's fine.
You gotta imagine his publisher must be just fucking furious
His
at this point.
I'm surprised his publisher hasn't hung himself.
But yes,
I could not think-
Sandman, episode 11.
I could not think of
Worst
a
case of Writer's Block of all time.
Yeah.
Watch it.
I could not think of a worse fucking job than being George R.R. Martin's fucking publicist.
Oh, listen to
It's gotta be a nightmare.
Listen to the.
It's like being Nick Cage's agent.
Ooh. There is a conversation.
Let's not do this. Let's not do this, Nick.
There is a conversation between Stephen King and George R.R. Martin.
Oh, God.
Where George R.R. Martin literally asks Stephen King to his face, how the fuck do you keep making so many fucking
Stephen
books?
King can write a book, an entire fucking novel, while he takes a shit. And George R.R. Martin takes 27 years to complete a chapter.
Well, that was the thing. The way that George R.R. Martin posed the question was, like, how do you manage to keep coming up with so many things? And Stephen King's response...
Cocaine.
I mean, probably that. But his response was, well, I make sure that I at least write 6 pages a day.
Yes.
And
it could be a cocaine-induced crazy fucking thing, and that's how we get the Langoliers.
Have you guys read his book On Writing? It's literally called On Writing.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've never read it.
Well, I got it upstairs if you want to borrow it. Great book. And he basically talks about, like, especially the early books, he was just like, he doesn't even remember writing them.
because he was so
blitzed
fucking
out of
high.
his fucking
He
mind.
was so high
Yeah.
on cocaine.
Yeah, and he was drunk and just everything. He was taking pills, he's taking Adderall
yeah.
and all this other shit.
like-
And like he would like come to read the shit, not like it, throw it out. His wife would find it and be like, "I want to know the ending."
Yeah. So if we want to talk about the uniqueness and the genius that is Stephen King, and the fact that he can he's probably literally the only person who could shit on a page and make millions of dollars off of it. Spoiler alert here for anybody who hasn't read the series. Who the fuck else could get away with writing a like 9-book series where literally in the middle of the series, well, it starts off as a Western, then turns into sci-fi, then in the middle of the series he runs out of shit to write about, so he writes about the characters talking to himself as a real person, and then continuing back into this weird sci-fi fucking horror mashup. And oh, I forgot to tell you about the sentient train that's talking, and there's a guy that can draw everything that into reality, and if he erases it, it fucking goes away, but he can't erase the guy's eyes because he used red paint. And what the fuck, dude?
If
And
you
it
would
was-
like to send your Stephen King lewd boy fan art to Nick, please email us at hitthebooksvids@gmail.com.
I mean, you read The Dark Tower.
I did.
I don't know if you did or not.
No, my sister loves it, but
She
tried to force me to read it, but I was like,
fucking fantastic.
I'll get to it eventually.
It's fantastic,
it's
but
fantastic.
it's also like cocaine
Yes.
fueled. I'm convinced.
It is. It is fantastic, but it's also like, what the fuck am I even... Did that bear have a satellite dish attached to its head? What the fuck am I doing here?
Like, what do you mean we're going to beat the big bad of this entire series by taking a very, very obviously... I mean, he has to be high. That artist has to be high for him to actually believe that he is, in fact, erasing things out of existence by erasing it on the page.
Convenient.
Yeah. It's like that ending reminds me of the ending of fucking Monty Python and the Holy Grail, where they just get arrested. You know? How do we end this book? We're out of money. Fucking erase the bad guy.
That brings up a funny memory. The first time I watched Monty Python and the Holy Grail and saw that ending, I was so confused that I kept, you know how it like
Yeah.
just cuts to black?
Yeah.
And like the
You
screen...
kept just staring at it, waiting for something
Yes!
else to happen.
Yes! I stared at it for way too long, thinking that something was going to happen.
Yeah,
No, that's the end of the
yeah.
movie.
It's there's got to be more, right?
Yeah.
You didn't just... Oh, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like,
Like, literally.
I had
that
no
is-
idea what the fuck just happened.
It is the most genius and most anticlimactic final battle I have ever read. It's like, oh, wait, did you just... Yep, they just
There's-
erased the character out of existence.
Totally unrelated to the rest of the show. There's some great documentaries on Netflix right now about Monty Python and their early phases and then making those movies. Highly recommend you watch those. It's so good. It's like they were fucking miserable filming that movie. They hated filming that movie. Yeah, and then like when they got to Life of Brian, they were just living it up because they had
Life
made
of
their
Brian
money.
is fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
It's so underrated. Everybody focuses on Holy Grail, but Life of Brian is one
Top
of the
tier.
greatest fucking... Oh my god,
So
it's
good.
so good. I would... if you had both of them in front of me, I would choose Life of Brian.
Yeah.
Probably because I've seen Holy Grail 7,562 times.
Yeah.
However,
Meaning of Life sucks though.
Meaning of Life is terrible.
It's bad.
But Life of
They
Brian...
can't all be winners.
Yeah.
Life of Brian
They
is-
didn't care
is-
at that point.
They
and
made
the
their
documentary covers the filming of that too. So it's great to have like the insight.
He is not the Messiah. He is a very naughty boy. Oh, shit.
I'm
Yeah.
not the Messiah. He is not the Messiah.
How shalt we fuck off, O Lord? This is degraded
good.
into Monty Python quotes.
Oh god. Yeah, definitely watch Monty Python. Monty Python.
Monty Python.
If you have not. All right. Final news item of the day. We got our free games for this month of September. On Xbox Games with Gold, you have Gods Will Fall, Double Kick Heroes, Thrillville, and Portal 2.
Wow, Portal 2. That's probably the best one on there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great game, but pretty old, but good game. Game Pass, you have a few games being added. Grid Legends, Disney Dreamlight Valley, Train Sim World 3, You Suck at Parking, Outer Wilds, Beacon Pines, Slime Rancher 2, Grounded, and Moon Scars.
Real quick, Outer Wilds, that game, if you guys have not played it yet, it's actually fucking genius. I've only played...
It's an indie game, right?
Yeah, it's an indie game, and I've only played a little bit of it. So there's... It always gets confused to me with Outer Worlds. Not the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Outer Wilds, you play as this little alien guy who builds, who's part of like a spacefaring organization, NASA. But you're like these backwater. Your ship is literally made out of wood.
Oh, my God.
And like you go off into space, and there's all the different planets of the solar system that you can go to. And then the sun explodes, and then you start over again so you're in a time loop.
Oh,
and you have to
okay.
figure out what the fuck's going on, but your log stays intact because the character is literally the only person. It's like Groundhog's Day almost, where the character is the only person who understands what's going on.
Yeah.
And I have it on my computer, and I've played a little bit of it, but I haven't had the time to get back into it.
Yeah.
But it's actually really fucking well done.
That's awesome.
And it's really interesting.
Yeah, there's another game that's kind of similar in premise. It's I wish I could remember the name of it, but it's basically about a murder that happens, and you basically experience this one day in this guy's life, and somebody gets murdered, and you basically keep reliving it and trying to figure out what happened, who did it, to who, why, etc.
But
I wish I could remember the title though.
The cool thing about Outer Wilds is that each planet has like different physics and different like it's very puzzle based. It's like almost like an old school like adventure style game, but each planet has its own separate like challenges, and like there's one that's pretty much almost completely underwater, but it's got these big ass storms that suck all the water up, so you have to like run through these underground things while the water's sucked up in the storms before it all gets
That's pretty cool.
rained back down basically.
Yeah,
And
that's interesting.
then there's like you find these like black hole wormhole style things that'll transport you from one side of the solar system to the other, and you find like these ruins from an ancient civilization and shit. It's really interesting.
Really neat. Yeah, so definitely take advantage of that if you have Game Pass. For the PS Plus, I apologize, the source we're using combined the ones that are on the higher tiers that are being added to the service and the ones that are actually just free games. So apologies, but they're all combined in this list. Need for Speed Heat, that's one of the ones for sure, is PlayStation Plus for the bottom tier. Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, that's bottom tier. And Toem, which is the bottom tier for this month. And then the other ones, which are at the higher tiers, you have Deathloop, Assassin's Creed Origins, Watch Dogs 2, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, Spiritfarer Farewell Edition, Chicory A Colorful Tale, Monster Energy Supercross, the official video game, Alex Kidd in Miracle World DX, Rabbids Invasion, the interactive TV show, Rayman Legends, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the game, complete edition, Siphon Filter 2, Sly Collection, Sly Cooper Thieves in Time, Bentley's Hack Pack, which I have not heard of, Toy Story 3, and Kingdoms of Paradise. So, Kingdom of Paradise, singular. So, some pretty good games on that list, so definitely take advantage of that. From Amazon Prime, you have Assassin's Creed Origins, Football Manager 2022, Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor, The Dig, Defend the Rook,
Dig.
We the Revolution, and Word of the Law, Death Mask.
The Dig, such a classic fucking adventure game. Speaking of
Yeah, no doubt.
LucasArts.
Oh, yeah.
LucasArts 90s adventure game. You are on the moon. You go to the moon to like investigate an asteroid, find out that the asteroid is actually a fucking ship that sends you off to another planet where it seems like it's uninhabited, but again, ruins of an ancient civilization.
Yeah.
There's a drug that makes one of your crewmen go crazy, and yeah, it's really fucking good.
Great. Definitely take advantage of that if you are an Amazon Prime member. Next up, we have Epic Game Store's free games. We have Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Submerged Hidden Depths, and 100 Days Winemaking Simulator.
Really?
I don't think anybody's going for that one. And then free games on Steam, we have Instant War, Duck Paradox, Burning Requiem Fates, Barista Takeaway. I mean, they have so many deals. I guess you can't complain too much about their free games being trash. But yeah, a lot of good content coming out of the other free services. So definitely take advantage of those if you are subscribed to those services. And of course, we have to give out the prestigious, nay, life-changing award of Cover of the Week. This week, it comes from Vault Comics, Mindset number 3, the Pearson variant cover. This, of course, done by John Pearson. This is an awesome cover featuring a kind of, trippy, out of this world man having his cell phone blow up his eyeballs, I guess. I don't
Looks like it's blowing up his whole head.
Yeah, it's hard to describe without seeing it. So, of course, check out our YouTube channel, like and subscribe if you're watching for the visual representation. Or just go ahead and Google Mindset number 3 from Vault Comics with the Pearson variant cover. So, yeah, it shows this very colorful individual between these purples and greens. Basically having his mind literally blown.
Bum, bum, bum.
He uses a great aesthetic, great use of light, great use of shadows, and really, honestly, only uses about maybe 3 colors and, a few variants of those said colors. So,
Yeah.
great deal of art, artistic talent being utilized with very few tools. So, sometimes less is more. And again, this done by John Pearson. As always, we're going to read the brief synopsis of the comic to incite you to go and purchase from your local comic book shops.
Again, please support your local comic book shops.
Ben Sharp and his friends build a new command center for their startup. Sorry, hard to read here.
Replete.
Replete with new coders and good intentions. But when their app goes viral and they achieve overnight success as the hottest technopreneurs,
Technopreneurs.
technopreneurs,
I don't
all
think
right.
that's a real word.
I think they made a word.
Yeah, they're making it.
In the valley, they'll find themselves swimming with sharks and facing the dangerous dilemma of just how unscrupulous they are willing to be for their vision.
So this is literally a comic about
Corporate greed! We gotta make our corporation so we can be greedy.
So, definitely look forward to that comic. Of course, Vault has not been featured on the comic cover of the week in quite some time. Obviously, they're a lower volume comic distributor. So, great to see them getting some shout-outs on the show. And again, great job, John Pearson. It is you who incited this prestigious award of comic cover of the week from Hit the Books Podcast. All right, well, I think that wraps up the show. Of course, as always, you can find us on Twitter at HTBVids, on Facebook at /HitTheBooks. You can find us on HTBVids.com. You can email us with any kind of promotions or lewd boy fan art at HitTheBooksVids@gmail.com. Of course, catch our D&D stream via our sister channel, Those Natural Ones, on twitch.tv /Those Natural Ones, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time every Tuesday night. And, of course, they also have their YouTube channel where what day can you look forward to those videos?
Videos are posted on Thursdays around at noon.
All right, so great. Definitely check that out. Of course, that's Eastern Standard Time. Correct?
Of course.
All right, great. Do you guys have anything else you want to promote?
I think that's it.
Yeah.
All right, great. And also keep an eye on their Twitch channel because they do have streams
Indeed.
every once in a while. Gaming streams via, I think Sam's the one that
Yeah,
does them,
Sam does a couple. She's probably going to run another shift, as they call it, of mortuary assistant at some point whenever her schedule works out for that.
Great. So definitely look forward to that. Definitely check that out. Again, Those Natural Ones and Hit the Books Podcast. Again, we're on YouTube, we're on Stitcher, we're on iTunes, we're on Spotify, we're in Podbean. We're going to be on Amazon Podcasts very soon here. So definitely look forward to that. If you have any other streaming services or video services you would like to see us on, please just shoot us an email, shoot us a tweet. Do not DM us directly on Twitter if you don't follow us on Twitter, because we won't get it. The filters will prevent us from seeing it until we dig deep into our spam filter. So if you are going to DM us on Twitter, at least give us a what is it? Follow. Thank you. And that way we'll actually see the message. I think that wraps everything up. So once again, thank you very much for watching. We will see you next week.
I really can't take you anywhere. Every time you bring up those fucking lewd boy, rude boy, like, oh, please, if you have any lewd pics or illustrations that you want to send to us, send them to us at the HTBVids, like, at
That's our
Gmail.
website, sir. How long have you been trying to sell us? You can't even get the email address right.
HitTheBooksVids@gmail.com.
Thank you. HitTheBooksVids@gmail.com. Send
See-
us those
see,
rude boy fan arts.
See, I was trying to come up with the wrong one because I don't want them actually sending any of that.
I want them.
Oh my god!
Send it.
Yeah, why?
I need Top Gun. I need Edgy the Hedgy. I need Dr. Feet.
Yeah, you would need Dr. Feet.
Thank you for watching. Goodbye. I really hope we can get like some of the comic artists we shout out to like start watching the show again. And then just get like a really well done like Stepan Sajic lewd Edgy the Hedgy Stepan Sajic artwork.
Stepan Sajic, please don't.
If you're watching or listening, please do.
No,
HitTheBooksVids@gmail.com.
Okay, send it to him.
Edgy the Hedgy Dr. Feet mashup.
Oh,
Please.
no.
And then we can have traking in the background with our Top Gun fanfic.
Oh, no.
God.
Perfect. It's all coming together, literally.
You can see these images yourself on our Patreon page that we're totally going to have up soon.